to this with you. Axios is reporting tensions are rising between the Biden and Harris teams nearly 3 weeks from Election Day. They write, quote, the relationship between Kamala Harris's team and Joe Biden's White House has been increasingly fraught in the final weeks before Election Day. 10 people familiar with the situation tell Axios. Biden's team wants Harris to win the election, but many senior Biden aides remain wounded by the president being pushed out of his re-election bid and are still adjusting to being in a supporting role on the campaign trail. And Joe, tensions may continue to rise because NBC News is reporting that Kamala Harris is weighing where to put more distance between her and Joe Biden after she said that she wouldn't do anything differently over the past 4 years. She said that on The View, of course. So is she going to have to criticize an administration that she's been a part of?
That's the tightrope, right? But it's like, hey, I'm going to do a lot of things different than I did while I was vice president when I signed off and broke more ties in the Senate in terms of putting things forward like the Inflation Reduction Act, which actually increased inflation. It's almost impossible for her to say, vote for me because we've done so many great things here, the Biden-Harris team, but then again, vote for me because I'm going to do things different than the same team that I was a part of. It hurts my hair just to kind of say this. And I think in the end, Carly, the tensions are rising because Democrats know that Kamala Harris is losing right now and could even be on the precipice of a landslide loss. You saw one poll come out yesterday where Donald Trump is up nationally in an NBC News poll by 1 point. If he's even tied nationally, that means in the Electoral College, if you look at any model, he's winning all the key swing states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina. Her path has to be that she at least sweeps those blue wall states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And right now, it's all slipping away. The trends are all behind Donald Trump because the more Kamala Harris speaks, Carly, the more her polls go backwards, as we saw in 2019. That's what we're seeing here again.
Yeah, there were a lot of reports over the weekend about how worried Democrats are right now. It used to be good vibes, and now it feels a lot like angst.
It's like, are we doing Kung Fu Week, Jerry? Jerry, are we doing Kung Fu Week? You need to alert me to these things. I'm excited for Kung Fu Week. I thought we were in Donald Trump Western Week, but we're doing Kung Fu Week, ladies and gentlemen. Kung Fu is what we did on the hurricane this last week, baby. It was awesome here in Florida, but we are still out of the Benny studio because the Benny studio is in the middle of a disaster zone right now. I thought I'd be heading home this weekend, but ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately today, Monday, October 14th, 2024, we're going to have to make do inside of the Benny cabin. Okay. It's like, just letting you know exactly how Florida man I've become. There you go. We got a giant fish that is in our studio with us here. Killer Klein's applauding, saying, you know what, maybe we should move the fish to the studio permanently. Maybe we should do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll do anything. Maybe I should stay here because the longer that we stay out here in the middle of the sticks, rural Florida, panhandle, the better things get for Donald Trump. Maybe there's some aura going on. Maybe there's something magical has happened. Bombshell reports indicate that Joe Biden is sabotaging Kamala's campaign. Donald Trump surges in polls. It's never been a better day to be a Trump supporter. Never. Never in the history of being a Trump supporter, of Donald Trump running for office, which has been a decade now. It's hard to think about that. But Donald Trump announced he's running for president. He started running for president in 2014, okay? Did the major announcement in 2015. Donald Trump's been running for president for a decade, okay, in multiple contests. There has never been a single better day to be a Trump supporter than today. Okay, so maybe I'll just stay here. All right, we're going to talk about the polls with Rasmussen's head pollster, Mark Mitchell, and live in the little Florida cabin, little Florida fishing cabin that we're in, Air Force Command Controller, Master Sergeant, Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, Jonathan Howard will be joining the program. Where he's going to be walking through the door. It's going to be great. He has inside information about Kamala Harris, and we look forward to hearing it. He has some inside hot tea about the way that Kamala Harris has behaved during these hurricanes, and we're going to get to all of it today. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is the Benny Show. We are very thankful for our sponsors, especially since they keep the show running in these times, and also they can keep your investments running into the red, into the black, into all of it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you can see that we are in tumultuous times. You can see that we are hitting what could potentially be a new American renaissance. But also, you've seen the horrors of money printing. Please consider investing in gold. Please consider investing in something that is just a hedge against the insane money printing machines. And those money printing machines, they run with Republicans and Democrats. I want to stop them all, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the world that we live in. Go to my friends at Allegiance Gold. Invest, ladies and gentlemen. Invest with Allegiance Gold. They've helped me out to get $5,000 in free silver with a qualifying investment. We go to protectwithbenny.com today. Protectwithbenny.com today. 844-66-BENNY. Protectwithbenny.com today. We are protecting, ladies and gentlemen, here by remaining. This is what my street looks like in Tampa. Now, the issue is that these downed power lines. Okay, so this is a photo of my street in Tampa. These big trees, right? Big old trees in Florida. Big old honking trees. Okay. Well. Here we are. Okay. Let me know. We back? Goodness gracious. I cannot wait to get back into our studio. Boy, that is annoying. It's so annoying. This hurricane's been obnoxious for all of us. Okay. We back? Producers? Okay. All right. Press F in the chat. Jeez. So it's been annoying last week. We evacuated our family because my street looks like this. We have down power lines and power all over the place. Here's what the map looks like right now currently for my area. You can see earlier last week, the area of Tampa right there, sort of that little carve out there. Yeah, chat is joking about the big old honking trees. Okay, well, big old honking trees got me. Maybe they just got our show. I'm not sure. We shouldn't have any power outages here, but for some reason we had a slight technical glitch. My apologies. So best production team in the world, still online, still rocking and rolling. Let's let it rip. So this is what the power outages look like. Here's what they look like now. I'm not sure why we're cursed, but that little red county is still my county. So we have difficulty with the power, and it creates difficulty with the show. And so it seems like we're just going to have difficulty no matter where we are. I'm in the blue area. So what the hell's going on? I'm not sure. So that little red dot right there, that's where I live. So we've decided to let them officially restore the power before I bring my kids back and clean up all the downed power lines that have all the sparking electric death that exists all over my neighborhood. So you don't want that when you have kids, obviously. You don't want also you don't want to live inside of a home without power. I mean, listen, I get that homesteading is a big time trend right now. And I get that being trad and going out and living in a cabin. I understand. And you know what? There may come a day where I'll get there. All right. Not today. Not my wife. My wife's not with 3 little kids. My wife's like not with 3 little kids. Trump should have y'all at his place big enough. That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to put that up? You can throw that up. That's another thing. So right now, and I'm not sitting here to complain. In fact, I'm here to give compliments to Ron DeSantis and to the Florida National Guard. A member of the Florida National Guard will be in the studio with us today. And so here you go. This is what the gas lines look like in Tampa right now. So I got these 3 little kids, and I got a pregnant wife, and I'm not going to bring my wife and kids back to no groceries, gas lines, and no electricity. I get it, Benny. Like go live off the grid, go homestead, right? Like go be like Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey's a great bro who does this. I would love to do that. In fact, we've talked as a team. We want to go like do a big piece on Thomas Massey. I want to go do a big show with Thomas Massey, where Thomas Massey like lives completely off the grid. Here you go. This is what this is what my neighborhood looks like right now. Gas lines, no groceries, no electricity. So we're spending a day or 2 here. I don't know. I cannot wait to get back into the studio. I want to get back into the studio. I just have to be able to bring my family home to a place that's, well, operational, right? You're a bad father if you like dump my pregnant wife and our 3 kids off at like Little House on the Prairie. And I married a farm girl. Okay, married a nurse, married a farm girl. I know Kate can take care of herself, but I got to work up to my trad husband. Okay, I got to work up to it. Maybe I would love a place off the grid. Do you live in a place off the grid? Well, you're probably not streaming the show actually if you live in a place off the grid. But here's what it looked like. This is Ron DeSantis giving police escorts to gas tankers to fill up the gas. There's so much gas. There's the producer Robbie, had to wait in line. Producer Robbie, hop on. How long did you wait in line, dude? How long did you wait in line to get gas coming back to Tampa? Robbie was in Miami. What's up, bro?
I got in at about 12:30 last night, went to about a half a dozen gas stations, and it took about 45 minutes to find gas. And I'm about 45 minutes north of downtown Tampa. Yeah. It's a mess. A lot of power down. But yeah, I worked for the state of Florida under Governor DeSantis, and I'll tell you, the response here has just been absolutely amazing. You know, when you see 50,000 linemen pulling in, and you know that the power is going to be on. I grew up in Florida. This used to be something that would take. I remember when Katrina actually came through Florida before it went to New Orleans, and then we had Wilma just a month later. It took over a month for the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area to get gas and electricity back at that time. Now it seems like a long time, but we're less than a week, and I predict that by the end of the week, gas and electricity will be almost fully restored.
There's my neighbor said that he was cleaning up all the debris in the yard because there's this giant tree that fell down that was blocking the road into our house. And my neighbor said that the problem with the cleanup was that all the snakes had been flushed out of their holes, and so his entire yard was snakes, like the Indiana Jones Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like inside the sarcophagus, there's like nothing but snakes everywhere. And so he got his Jeep and he just started running over all the snakes in his yard. Maybe too much information, but not where I want snakes. I hate snakes. Yes. Killer Klein, can you grab that? There's got to be an image of like that from Raiders of the Lost Ark. So he said it was like Raiders of the Lost Ark with all the snakes because they can't live with there's too much water. They get flooded out. So they all come running in the yard. My wife heard that story. She's like, we're not going back to Tampa until we get the snakes off this plane. I'm sick of these MFing snakes on these MFing plane, my wife said. She's going to kill me when she sees this clip. But yeah, I mean, it's technically what she said. So anyway, this is why, there you go. Pop her up. Pop that up. That's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly right. Why does it always have to be snakes? Now that one with this would have been me cleaning up. This would have been me cleaning up my yard right here. There you go. That's me coming home to my yard.
We live in the tropics.
That's right.
Well, Benny, I'll let you get back to our next segment and greet our guests. Thank you for having me on,
okay. It's a good. Robbie's like, we got Mark Mitchell on. Well, baby, there's nothing better. Okay, so enough about me. I just wanted to explain what's up here. Some people are interested. It's also very interesting the difference in the way this is being handled here in a red state versus a blue state. And the only reason we call North Carolina blue state is because they have a blue governor. North Carolina, is it a swing state? Could it possibly be won by Kamala Harris? What's going on in the recent polls has been some massive series of nightmares this weekend for Team Kamala. Best bro to talk about it is Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen, who has some brand new numbers for us. Mark Mitchell joins the show live now. Do we not have Mark Mitchell? No? Whoa, guys. Holy smokes. They left me cooking here, Mark. Jeez. You think it was bad enough? They got a hurricane, hit my hometown, and then they leave me hanging. My producer leave me hanging. I'm in here in the Florida fishing cabin, Mark. Look at this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good digs. Great. That's cool. I'm in my basement, so you're doing better than I am.
Okay, so let's talk about dead fish. Let's talk about Kamala Harris's polling from this weekend. Not great when NBC News says Trump is winning the popular vote. That's like a bad sign, I think.
No, this was so predictable though, because nobody thought that she had the substance to get past, the DNC all the way to election day on literally inauthenticity and media production. And I saw it coming, and she's absolutely crashed. The crazy thing is that all these pollsters that were out there on the left, like supporting her, have all of a sudden started running for the hills. ABC News is not the only one, but they had Harris up 5. Now it's a tie. Like newsflash, she didn't just all of a sudden, the race didn't move 5 points to the right. That's just them trying to not be inaccurate in the numbers that actually count. But ABC News Ipsos is doing it as well. New York Times, Siena, I think, is going to start doing it. CBS News is doing it. They're all coming to the right. And that's because I think this kind of loser narrative is creeping into the press that she might actually lose, and people need to start preparing their viewers for that.
Mark, I was credibly informed that Megan Thee Stallion twerking on stage was going to save Kamala, and that's what Americans want right now. The Israel's like at war, Ukraine's at war, Taiwan's at war, whole Middle East is on fire, that our currency is worthless, that the border's open. But you know what? Megan Thee Stallion, she twerked her ass on stage, and that's what Americans need right now. That's what we've been looking for. And so you're telling me that didn't work?
No, I mean, it's like they're playing into the media. They're playing into the electorate they think that we had 10 or 15 years ago, where corporatized, glossy crap is what people respond to. Stephen Colbert, like after embarrassing himself on the world stage dancing with the vaccines, is not going to help you pick up new voters. Tim Walz even, like, listen, this guy probably knows how to operate a shotgun. I think he was probably whatever, right?
No way.
The point is that look at how they're using Twitter, though. They're putting out these corporatized tweets that just look like what Twitter was 10 years ago, and they think that's going to help them win, and it just absolutely isn't. And now they have 3 weeks left, and it's all coming crashing down. Now, I think the big news is I stayed up really late last night, finished our state polling of Pennsylvania, and we have Trump up 3. The crosstabs aren't out yet. They're coming out in the next couple hours. Okay. But that is a move to the right for us. We had Trump tied back in September, but we did poll right after the presidential debate. But that's massive. That's at the margin of error. That's Trump winning Pennsylvania. A lot of other pollsters agree with us, even the New York Times, and we could get into that. But we've never been here before in October with Trump winning in Pennsylvania, which is the key to all of this.
Here you go, bro. All right, so Trump +3. This is Rasmussen. This is your poll this morning. And it aligns with what? Trafalgar and Atlas? And the New York Times? What? Bro.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Well, the New York Times had Harris +3, but the point is that they're oversampling Democrats by like 7 points in there. They have a Biden 2020 recalled vote at +8 when he only won the state by 1. So if you corrected that, it becomes, a Harris +3 to a Trump +4. They just don't want to take credit for it. That's what it ultimately comes down to.
So can you talk me through, like, what is the path exactly now for Kamala Harris? I don't see it. Where exactly does she? Where exactly does she win Ohio? Like, I don't understand what the path is. She ain't winning Florida, I can tell you that. And
that's what you have people trying to make these arguments that, well, in 2014, the polling said that Romney was going to do better. And this is nothing like the 2012, the 2012.
Boys, we've lost. Hey, Mark, we've lost audio, buddy. Hey, Mark. If you can hear me, man. You muted yourself, my friend. We're going to pop them off. Our producers are going to check in with Mark. Let's rock and roll, boys. Okay. While we check in with Mark, I'm sorry, we've been vamping this morning. I didn't want to do story time, but like, why not? We got to explain why we're in a studio with dead fish. I did want to talk through one of the more interesting pieces of news to break from this weekend. And while we get Mark reset up, and while we await our incredible in-studio guest that we're very excited to talk to, actually, a man who's made a lot of news recently, I want to talk through this Axios piece, okay? So, guys, put Mark on hold real quick. We're going to talk through this Axios piece. Tensions rise between Harris and Biden teams as election nears. Look at this. The relationship between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, White House, has been increasingly fraught in the final weeks of Election Day. 10 people familiar tell Axios. This ain't good. There's like 20 days until everyone votes. Biden's team wants Harris to win the election, but many senior Biden aides remain wounded by the president being pushed out. Right? They threw the guy into the mouth of an open volcano in a wheelchair. We're too much in their feelings, one close Harris ally said of the president's team, sentiment shared by some White House aides. Driving the news. Some on the Harris team say the top White House aides aren't sufficiently coordinating Biden's messaging to align with what's best. What do you mean? Of course they're coordinating Biden's messaging. When Kamala has a big event, Joe Biden goes on TV to Bigfoot her, to like big dick swinging, like come in and swagger jack all of Kamala's press. It's incredible. You saw it happen yesterday. You saw it happen 2 days ago. You saw it happen 2 weeks ago. Biden gave an impromptu press conference at the White House briefing room on Friday, just as Harris was about to do an event in Michigan, ensuring that the event would get less TV coverage. When Harris criticized Ron DeSantis for not taking her call, which is like the cattiest Regina George mean girl. Like, can you imagine having a president that like when a world leader misses her call, she has to go and like do some type of locker room rage hate. She goes and like draws mean pictures of them and then prints them and puts them up on the lockers in the locker room. I don't know how to cyber bullies them. Is this cyberbullying? Kamala Harris is cyberbullying. She's guilty. Look at this. She did this. She goes after Ron DeSantis, and then Biden steps right on top of her, boot on her neck, and says, no, Ron DeSantis is a G. Ron DeSantis is my boy. I got his number. This is not good. Here's what happens. And producers, tell me if we got Mark Mitchell again. Tell me if Mark's all set up. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Mark, we lost your audio for some reason, but I want to like get into this with Mark. Dude, success is unifying. Failure splinters all movements. That's why they want MAGA to fail so badly. Success like brings everyone together. What you're seeing here is the beginning stages of the collapse, the atomization of whatever fake thing they built. And this is the important thing. Everything built on fraud, everything built on fraudulence, like it always collapses like this. The Soviet Union, everything built on corruption, it never actually lasts. None of it actually maintains the test of time. You can bring the America First movement back to like our founding. all the way through Richard Nixon, through Lincoln, through Reagan. There's like little pieces of it that like have pre-existed us and our great grandparents. What Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are pushing, it's built on nothing. And so it will splinter to the ages. Here we go. Mark Mitchell, back on, boys. There you go, Mark.
Sorry about that. Complicated business involving a Jack Russell.
It's in the water. Okay, so what's up, man? So this is very interesting. So Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they're going after each other now. Yeah. Because I think what Joe Biden's going to say is my last press conference I gave at NATO, I said, I haven't seen any polling that says Kamala's going to do any better. And I'm not here to say Joe Biden's right, but Joe Biden would at least be winning Michigan and getting union support, wouldn't he?
Listen, this is not the kind of thing, the healthy things that you would be seeing if they thought they were winning. And it was so predictable. They, in my opinion, this is all about lies. And I have some numbers I want to go into from the Pennsylvania swing state poll. Please. But you can only lie so much until there's blowback. And the problem is that everybody's so insular, everybody's politicized, everybody gets their news from the idiot box. And there's more and more lies, and the blowback's going to get bigger and bigger. But listen, what they could have done is just have an open convention. Go through the democratic process. Everybody, they would have probably been in a lot more unified situation. Instead, they did all these backroom dealings and blackmailed people, and there was all this backbiting and backstabbing and Pelosi ostensibly turning on Biden. What do you think was going to happen here in October when it all of a sudden looked like, in a very predictable way, you weren't going to win the race? This is exactly what you're seeing. And I think Newt Gingrich probably this is just conjecture, but Newt Gingrich put his finger on it when all of a sudden he said, Biden probably looked around and said, well, I could keep my legacy of being the only person to beat Donald Trump. And now he threw her under the bus. I think that's what probably happened.
Ooh, that is malevolent, man. Yeah. That's a really good point. Okay, so let's talk through some of these projections really quickly. Can you walk us through this weekend's polls leading up to your poll here in Pennsylvania? But there are some big corporate media polls who you came on our show, Mark, pre-hurricane, and you said the Kamala collapse, give it a week or two, is exactly what you said. And that's probably 2 weeks ago. And here we are with multiple corporate media polls coming out this weekend. I'd love for you to do a little bit of a roundup, but NBC News was the one that shocked me, showing that Trump may win the popular freaking vote. It's nuts.
After putting out Harris +5. Again, let's not forget how absolutely in the tank NBC News was. So again, when I polled Pennsylvania in September, I had a tie, but that really was, some of these major events, they get a lot of press coverage on. They do get a juice for about 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's more what pollsters call a response bias than anybody actually changing their mind. It's like somebody saw Kamala Harris do well on the idiot box, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll pick up this phone call. But there hasn't really been anything like that. And when we went into the field, we got Trump +3 in Pennsylvania. Now, we could do a roundup of all the states, but what you just showed was Trump winning, and it all hinged on Pennsylvania. And all of these numbers here, if you look at Real Clear Politics, there are some blue things in the Pennsylvania aggregate. But for instance, the biggest lead besides Bloomberg Morning Consult, who just sucks and we shouldn't even consider them, is New York Times Siena. But they oversampled Biden 2020 supporters, like I said, by 8 points. So that's a Trump +4. So you have us Trump +3, them Trump +4, Insider Advantage Trump +2, the Hill Emerson Trump +1, Trafalgar Trump +3. Rich Barris is coming out with another Trump lead. It's done. Trump's winning Pennsylvania. The only question is he going to win by more, and is he going to drag McCormick over the finish line? But like this has kind of looked like this for a month or two. Trump's up by 0.1 now. That's because Morning Consult and New York Times Siena are dragging that number down. But anybody could have looked at this page a month ago and said, well, look, you've looked at the numbers at the top too, like Clinton +8. No way. She lost. Biden +7. No way. He won by 1. So there's going to be polling error again to the left. Trump's going to have maybe a blowout in Pennsylvania, just depending on whether or not the Postal Service shows up for him.
Man, okay. So they're saying, I saw this panic clip this weekend. They're like, we can't depend on Philadelphia anymore. That's a really scary situation, right? They're like, we got to go out into the rural communities and get rural people to vote for Kamala. Good luck, man. Yeah. I got all these videos of Amish people with Trump flags on their horse and buggy.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to convince those people to vote for Kamala Harris. But
Well, I have Trump down 20 points in Philadelphia, 19 points. That's probably what I'd expect to see. But Harris is only winning by 5 in the Philly suburbs. Northeast PA is Trump +8. Central PA, Trump. I mean, like, yeah, all the rural, central, and western PA is Trump +4. That's going to include, Pittsburgh and stuff. I mean, all these numbers here make sense to me, and it's a Trump +3. And like the internals, I really want to kind of get at this because we talked a bit about lying. And I think we talked before about how MSNBC viewers exhibited different behaviors and they thought different issues were important, like protecting democracy and abortion. Well, we threw a new question in, which is how likely in the next couple of years America is going to experience another civil war or a revolution. And the number now is 46% of voters in Pennsylvania who think it's at least somewhat likely. That's the highest number I've ever seen. So we've looked at that at a national level. It's been 41% recently in the last couple of years. This is how politically divisive swing states are now. 15% very likely, 31% at least somewhat likely, only 14% say not at all likely. And the real sad one for me is that 18 to 29-year-olds who I think are going to turn out big and who I think are going to break more towards Trump than everybody expects. 72% of them, civil war likely in the next few years.
Man, must be some Tim Pool listeners there. Okay, so talking through North Carolina and Georgia. North Carolina and Georgia, they were hit hard. I think that's a lot of people are scared that those communities get decimated. Though nobody shows up to vote because they have no power, like down in Tampa, right? We got no power left. They're saying Thursday we'll have the power back on. Okay, so how are you gonna? If my family, my family's not gonna go down there, snakes in the yard, like no groceries, gas lines. Is that going to affect the vote? Do you have any concerns about that in swing states like Georgia and North Carolina?
Yeah, that's a tough one because the way pollsters operate, especially North Carolina, is that they're just going to have quotas for different regions in the state, and they're just going to leave the quotas open until the quotas are filled. So you're not necessarily going to get a read on whether people are going to turn out or not because they're affected by the storm. I think DeSantis did a pretty good job laying out what emergency voting looks like. I hope that the governors of Georgia and North Carolina respond in kind. But I think it's very realistic to be concerned about those states because in the Real Clear Politics aggregate, they're only up by 0.5 point for Trump. Now, again, I think that they're massively to left because of all of the polling errors. But you did see Democrats come out and start talking about North Carolina. I mean, Axelrod said something horrifying. I forget his exact words, but it was essentially, let's just fix the blue areas and let the red areas squander because it's going to hurt our odds of winning. So I'm going into the field. The polling's done. I haven't processed it yet. For North Carolina, I expect to see, based on my PA +3, is something +4 or +5 for Trump. But what we'll be able to do is look by region and say, okay, now what does it look like if that has a 10% or 20% less turnout? I really think it's important to get as much data from Georgia and North Carolina as possible before this election, because right now, according to Real Clear Politics, I think the states are tighter than they should be. But again, with Pennsylvania going Trump +3, Georgia and North Carolina should not be on the table.
Yeah, you're not going to win. You're not going to get a +10, +18 in Iowa and then lose Michigan and Wisconsin. That's not how the Midwest works. I'm from the Midwest, bro. It's that's not how we're all it's a melted pot. That's not how those states work. Do you see a path for Kamala Harris?
No, not at all. Maybe I'll have to eat my words, but I do think, listen, you're putting this on YouTube, and I don't want to talk too much about it. There is massive and distributed problems with elections, and I think voters are really concerned about it. In this poll, 70% of Pennsylvania voters are at least think it's at least somewhat likely that the outcome will be affected by cheating. So that's a horrifying number. And of course, they all lived through 2020. But no, I absolutely don't, because I think, again, with Trump on the ballot, all of the polling leans left. And if the numbers are moving to the right, as we all predicted, I don't think we've seen that in the battleground states yet, too. So I think people are going to start to move right there. And these are all going to look like unwinnable situations for Kamala Harris in the next week or two. And, that's tough luck, right? Trump has never been leading in the polls, and he is now.
Do you think that right now, today, as we talk, that this is the best mathematically, this is the best time to be a Trump voter in Trump's political history.
Yeah, in October, yeah. I mean, Trump would have loved to have had the election back in the middle of July, right after the week he got shot. But yeah, every single one of these states, you'll see the same pattern. There wasn't as much polling error in Georgia, and we could talk about that. But I think like on the aggregate in every single one of these states, Trump is outperforming where he has in the 4 years ago and in 8 years ago. The polling industry is not fixed. You're hearing it from me. And everything between now and then, I think, is just more of what you're going to see now, unless an act of God happens, more Democrat backbiting, more of the places that actually want viewers coming out and easing their viewers into the potential that Trump is going to be the president, everybody except MSNBC, essentially. And I think probably a lot of positivity, a lot of good video out of Trump events. And I think you're already seeing news stories about how Kamala Harris is rejiggering her campaign with the help of former Obama staffers, but he didn't exactly come out and help the campaign any with his little segment that he had last week either. So it's all a mess. I don't know how they're going to get it together with this little time left to the election.
Oh, so you're saying Barack Obama showing up looking like Slender Man? Like all dusty and broken and sad and like gray and like the guy looks rough. Okay, like the guy looks like he really could use a Big Mac, and he's showing up and he's like talking in the lamest possible way. The body language is incredible here. The dudes are like, I'm bored behind him. They're like, I'm bored. Shut up. Like I'm bored. And then he's sitting there being like, you got to support Kamala Harris because she grew up in the same neighborhoods as you. Bro, she grew up in Montreal. Like, she didn't grow up in the same neighborhoods as these guys. He's talking to dudes, he calls them the brothers, in Philadelphia. Like, everyone knows she grew up in Montreal. She grew up in Canada. Like, they're like, no, she didn't grow up like us. And this seems to have backfired. I mean, we were able to pick up a bunch of TikTok videos of Black Americans being like, saying things to Barack Obama I'm not allowed to say on the stream, but they say it. So, their voices matter, right? Yeah. And it's like that. This seems like a huge political backfire. Have you seen anything in the polling that this has like helped Kamala Harris?
Oh, no. I'll give you exact numbers of why I think it hasn't. I mean, the real polling, like post Barack Obama, we're not going to see anything. By the time we get data back, it's going to all blend into the noise. The fact is that this is a presidential administration that Kamala Harris is attached to, right? She is, voters think she is, who had stadiums around the country chanting FJB just 3 years ago. It's an unpopular administration. And then this is the same administration that put us through COVID lockdowns and shut everybody's business. So we put into the field, and we'll get it from the other states too, but this is Pennsylvania numbers. Do you trust the United States federal government? 53% of Pennsylvania voters say no. Only 31% say yes. Only 28% of 18 to 29-year-olds say yes. Only 30% of Black voters say yes. 15% of Republicans, only 23% of independents say yes. 59% say no. And it's like, they're going to think that a Dick Cheney endorsement is going to move the needle. Like, how does that work? How are you going to trot out George W. Bush and Barack Obama and say, see, guys, these authority figures who put you through hell say that they want you to consume this product candidate? It's just not. That's right. I mean, totally different situation.
Just don't ask questions, consume product. Don't ask questions, consume more product.
And it worked for them for a bit. My theory was it just was never going to get them to election day. Like literally, I did the charts. I have charts showing the 18 to 39-year-old support, and they absolutely did flood back to Kamala Harris in August, and they're already starting to peel back off.
Okay,
it just
real quick
doesn't work.
Real quickly, here you go. Your friends at the New York Times, your favorites. Yeah. I mean, you're such huge fans. Black voters drift away from Democrats, imperiling Kamala Harris. Ooh, boy. Donald Trump doing potentially better than any Republican in my lifetime. I didn't live through Nixon. With Hispanics and Blacks, do you see that in your numbers?
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's all a matter of degrees. Now, I feel sorry for Nate Cohn at the New York Times, to be honest with you. I think he's really trying hard to be accurate. And I think, like, looking into that Pennsylvania number, some managing editor somewhere said, no, there's no way we're running with a Trump There's no way you're doing that. Go back to the drawing board. And then he puts out an article that's apologetic. But yeah, over the last 3 cycles now, we have polling on Donald Trump on the ballot. And the black vote, the Hispanic vote, and the 18 to 39-year-old vote has been increasingly every single cycle moving towards Donald Trump. We have him taking home about 25-ish% of the black vote right now, reliably in almost every single one of the polls. Now, New York Times, Siena says 15. There isn't a real measuring stick we could compare it to, because I think the exit polling also isn't necessarily accurate on every single demographic. But the point is that in our polling, we only had upper single digits for Trump in the black vote with Hillary Clinton, and now here he is getting almost 30%. The same directional movement as New York Times Siena has. You
can't win when you're, I mean, Kamala Harris this weekend at 50% with Latino voters. Wait, what? Talk about panic time. When your margins look like that with black voters, and when you're tied with Trump with Latino voters, you're talking about the opposite of what they want, which is a majority to rule forever. You're talking about a non-functional Democrat party that can't win.
Yeah, 100%. Hispanic vote. I've seen the same kind of thing. In fact, some of my polls, I have Trump actually winning the Hispanic vote. And in Pennsylvania, it was Harris plus 15. So that's and again, right? This is all predictable. Hispanic population leans more Catholic. Catholic voters go Trump by almost double digits. And we had a question here where I believe the number was almost 2/3 of the electorate in Pennsylvania think it's at least somewhat important that the president of the United States exhibit religious values. I mean, just incredible. And the number for Trump supporters was about 20 points higher than Kamala Harris supporters. So they can call his behavior anti-Christian or crass all they want. But ultimately, what it comes down to is the type of America that Donald Trump is painting. And that's one where you can afford your food and have a job and not have everything focused on lies and divisiveness and single issues like abortion that, quite frankly, don't represent what people are concerned about right now.
Mark, I got a tough one for you. Everyone hates the hypotheticals, but you actually have the math to back it up. Is Kamala Harris going to win some of these swing states? Which one's she going to? How are you going to pull them off? What are you going to do here when I'm walking the street? So you have real math. I have just anecdotal evidence. But every state I go to and every street I walk in, including but not limited to Barack Obama's neighborhood in the south side of Chicago, a mile from his presidential library, I couldn't find a single Kamala voter. In fact, every one of those homies were like, I want Trump now. Malik Obama shared that video this weekend. I find that there is this big, untapped, probably tens of millions of Americans that can't be polled that are voting for Trump. And so when I see these polls, I just add a couple extra points to Trump based on that silent Trump vote. And I'm looking at everything tied. And then I put in anecdotally what I know, which is that these voters, right? This is that young man's too young to vote, but that they probably are not being polled correctly. And so I add Trump plus 3 or 5 to these swing states. I'm like, can Kamala Harris even win any of these swing states?
I think so. And I think a lot of it comes down to how hard it really is to poll the states and how big a margin of error really is. I had Nevada really tight. I had Trump down in Wisconsin and Michigan. Again, I haven't gotten those numbers back yet from this cycle. I expect to see Trump margins, but they're going to be really thin. But again, what you're asking me to do is I have my numbers. They say the race is tight. Just statistically speaking, Harris might pick up some of those states. I don't think she's going to pick up Pennsylvania now. I don't think she was ever going to pick up North Carolina. I also think that if those 2 states go, Georgia goes. And then the other ones, I honestly don't know. But you have to also understand the reality of in a post-2020 world. I think that if you ask a pollster how many real Democrat voters there are, that's a really tough question to answer. It really is. After 2020, because what happens after every cycle when a pollster is surprised about the outcome? And listen, our polling was actually pretty close in a national popular vote. The difference is that our polls were way too left-leaning in the states, but other people You come back and you look at that kind of cycle and you say, well, in 2018 and 2022, also the Democrats overperformed. Every time a pollster's off, they'll reweight their polls to what they missed by. So if suddenly a couple million Democrat votes miraculously show up, they will say, oh, look, the electorate turned out more Democrat than I thought it would be. So there could be that kind of surprise again, and I have no idea where that surprise comes from. It could be all the polls were just lying. It could be people were lying in the polls and Trump's going to perform better. It could be there's a very energized 18 to 29-year-old base that's breaking hard right, that shows up, that doesn't answer polls. Or it could be there's a bunch of ballots being stuffed somewhere and being muled around by people. Like, those are all the surprises. And again, I think they matter a whole lot less when Trump's up 3 in Pennsylvania, and almost everybody agrees about it. But my understanding is that there have been some things the RNC is doing to get out in front of some of those surprises. I guess we'll see how effective those are. And also, I would say, just again and again, everything I see in my polling shows that the country has shifted massively to the right. I looked at numbers in New York and New Jersey as well and saw the same kind of thing. We had in New York a Biden plus 23 electorate go to plus 11. So every single time I look in my polling, I see the country has moved massively to the right. I don't think the polling reflects it yet. I think Trump's going to outperform this polling like he has the last 2 cycles. And we're probably going to be surprised about some stuff. Maybe Kamala Harris wins a swing state or 2, especially if they break all the machines and, give people magic markers or whatever for the ballot. But if those things happen again, I think the Republicans have nobody but themselves to blame, ostensibly.
Mark, I want to extend an offer to you in closing here, and please toss up Mark's X page. I want everybody to follow Mark. Like, you should get accurate information, but I want to extend an offer to you. When Trump wins Pennsylvania, I've regularly on the show called for, I want a ride in one of these horse and buggies. I want a ride in one of the Trump horse and buggies. And you are welcome to come with me, Mark. And you can ride in the Amish horse and buggy with the Trump flags. And we're going to do that to celebrate Trump's victory in November. It's going to be really exciting. And so I think you should come along. Okay. You're one of the few guys predicting this accurately. I just want to extend the offer here live.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that for sure. Absolutely. Go get some raw milk and some smoked ring bologna and hang with the Amish. Let's do it.
You're in Jersey, homie. It wouldn't be too far of a trip for you. Everybody follow Mark Mitchell. Rasmussen reports the best. Sorry for the technical difficulties this morning, Mark. You're the man.
All right. Yeah, sorry for that. It's complicated.
That's all right, homie. That's all right, homie. And here's an opportunity to say bye to the dead fish in the studio. There you go. Okay, see, we got to get a nickname for the fish. I don't know. We got to get a nickname for the fish. We're gonna work on it. Thank you, Mark. God bless you, man.
Thanks again.
Chat, what's the nickname for our fish? What's our fish name? We got a fish. We're in the fishing cabin in Florida. We're in the Panhandle. What's the fish's name? Ooh, baby. Okay, so I want to buckle in. Mark talked about all the polls. Polls were nightmarish. Kamala Harris is collapsing in multiple new national polls, just 23 days away from the election. CNN is straight up punching the panic alarm, being like, ding, 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 ding. It's all going south here. The collapse, ladies and gentlemen, Collapsetober is what we're going to call it, is here. Here's CNN having a panic attack on here.
All right, so party ID nationally. You go to October, November of 2016, Democrats had a 3-point advantage. You go 4 years ago, Democrats had a 6-point advantage. Look at where we are today, Manu. Republicans with a 1-point advantage. A very different picture, very much mirroring what we see in the party registration numbers in those key battleground states, and Pennsylvania in particular.
It actually just shows you, too, why Harris is doing what she's trying to do. She's trying to moderate a little bit on these issues, trying to reach those very voters, because the party registration is changing and the demographics of the voters are changing. And those are the people she needs to attract.
Absolutely. And the GOP leads by a point in party identification right now. The average when the Republican Party loses is the Democrats ahead by 8. When the Republican Party wins, the average party ID advantage for Democrats is 3. Republicans right now, Manu, are doing even better than the average when they win. If there's one little nugget that I think Republicans are really hopeful for, it's this party ID and this party registration data. It really points in a good direction for them and for Donald Trump.
Wow.
So we want to establish something here, and this is why it's so important to do these shows from an optimistic perspective, which is You have to make it too big to rig. You have to make this environment a ecosystem where you're saying, wait a second, if Republicans are winning on party ID, registration, enthusiasm, voter registration, if you're flipping all the voter registration, because those are public numbers, you can't rig those numbers. If you're flipping the voter registration, then you're making it mathematically impossible to do the finite on the edges rigging that's done, because their capacity to rig the election is finite. You can't just dump 1 million ballots into Arizona Indian reservation. You can't do that, right? It's not possible. You have to squeeze the margins. And also, a number of these states are red states, right? Like red legislatures. Arizona's one, North Carolina's another, Georgia's another. Where you look into these things. A place like Florida, where we are, boom, election results 9 p.m. at night, like clockwork. So this is what you want, right? Please put up the Daily Mail article, please, guys. Here we go. Kamala national polling. Look at that. Collapsing through the floor. NBC News. I know I've muled on about this. I don't mean to like be annoying, but I gotta establish when NBC News is saying that it is, here we go. NBC, ABC, when they're all saying it's tied, you're cooked. You're done. You can't win a tied race. This is the best day to ever be a Trump supporter. That's what we say. Here's NBC News saying like, okay, the joy is gone. Go.
I mean, the top line is the 5-point advantage that Kamala Harris had in our last poll is gone. What's behind that shift?
Yeah, exactly, Savannah. I mean, just look at them side by side and you can see it. Remember that poll we took a month ago that you see here? It was just after that first Trump-Harris debate. Since then, we've had the VP debate. There have been some campaign activities, some interviews, some things that have changed in that time. I think this might be the biggest for Harris. We just asked the basic image perception people have. Is it positive or negative of these candidates? The Trump number's always been somewhere in this territory. In fact, this is a little bit high for him, believe it or not, 43% positive. But look at Harris, 43 positive, 49 negative. The significance, we polled this a month ago. She was 48% positive and 45 negative. She was above water, as they say. That's completely reversed. It now looks very similar to Trump's. That's a pretty big shift when you're talking about a race this close. And then there's the weight of the fact she's the VP in an unpopular administration. We asked about President Biden's policies. Are they helping or hurting your family? Just a quarter of voters said they're helping. Nearly half said they're hurting. And then here's the interesting twist. We also asked folks, think back to when Donald Trump was president. Did his policies help or hurt your family? And look at the difference. 44% helping, 31 hurting. Trump's, the retrospective, you would say, opinion of Trump's presidency among voters, arguably higher now than when he was president.
And
so awesome. I love the ending point there. And Steve Kornacki at MSNBC is a very interesting pollster because he does end up giving like black pills to the MSNBC audience, just like Harry Ensign on CNN. They're giving these black pills because they just can't lie about the numbers. Trump looks great in retrospective. Trump looks like he helps America. And oh, by the way, when Donald Trump got an opportunity to go and help hurricane victims in Georgia and North Carolina, he went and did that. He went to cities that were blue. I mean, Asheville, North Carolina is a big Democrat stronghold. And like the Trump team's there helping out their fellow Americans. That's what America First looks like. That's why you see Trump's pollsters saying the numbers look so good in retrospective. Everyone's missing the Trump years. Bring back them Trump gas prices once we get gas in Tampa. Once we get the gas, we'll bring back the Trump gas prices. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's one man that has made a huge amount of news as of late, calling out from the inside what's actually happening with this hurricane relief effort. Are Democrats slow walking the carnage that occurred to our fellow Americans that is actively occurring here, right? We feel that. Are Democrats actually slow walking that? Are they just staging props for propaganda? Well, here's something that we know. We know that Kamala Harris posted a propaganda photo where her AirPods weren't even plugged into her phone, right? Her headphones weren't even plugged in. She wasn't even writing anything. She was like writing on a blank piece of paper. We know that Kamala Harris has already staged propaganda photos for the hurricane. That she's done propaganda phone calls where she had to bark and scream at her staff. Do you have the Kamala Harris photo? Kamala Harris photo, it's so rage-inducing. Like, she's staged fake photographs. She's like, I'm helping. And it's Kamala Harris. She doesn't even have her earplugs. She doesn't even have her headphones plugged into her phone. She's writing halfway down a blank piece of paper. Okay. Well, what is the military actually doing to help out? The interesting thing about traveling to different places in this great state is that we get outreach from people that we've never spoken with. Jonathan Howard is one of those people. Jonathan Howard made a huge bit of news on the Sean Ryan show, great channel, saying that it goes way beyond the photo op on Air Force Two. Here's the clip from the Sean Ryan show. This is Jonathan Howard. He's Impact Operations Lead Aerial Recovery, former Air Force Combat Controller, and Master Sergeant in the Florida State Guard, saying this Kamala Harris helping out the hurricane victims, it is not what it seems. Here we go.
Video, I started getting a lot of messages like to my Instagram from like actual like aircraft commanders, like squadron commanders.
No kidding.
I had a squadron commander from North Carolina reach out to me. They had to load a C-17 full of supplies just to take a photo op for Kamala, and they never sent the bird.
Wait a minute, what?
They loaded an entire C-17 full of supplies for the hurricane victims just for Kamala to go there, take a photo, take a video, and they never sent the C-17. It was just
Are
a
you
full.
serious?
Yeah, that was a National Guard, North Carolina National Guard unit. That was a 06 that reached out to me. And then I had another.
He reached out to you to tell you that they did a photo op and with the intention of never sending.
Never sent it. It was just a photo op. And then also from that video, I started getting a lot of messages like to my Instagram from like actual like aircraft commanders, like squadron commanders.
No kidding.
I had a squadron commander from North Carolina reach out to me. They had to load a C-17 full of supplies just to take a photo op.
So close, Klein. You were so close, buddy. Really. You're so close. Are you got to give him the actual stinger. Come on. You were so. What happened there, Klein? I'm looking at the chat. What happened? What did two of you try to hit the stinger at the same time? We're gonna work on this system. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us, the double click, the dreaded double click from Butterfingers Klein, joining us now, Jonathan.
Yeah, appreciate it.
What's up, man? You went thermonuclear viral with that clip.
Yeah, that one did go kind of crazy. That wasn't the first video that went kind of crazy on that one. That one was pretty interesting because they kind of debunked that story in like 24 hours after it aired.
Well, that's pretty fast.
And I was just kind of like, oh, that's the one you guys want to, die on the hill with that one. But I'm like, why aren't you debunking the other stories? But when I started looking into it, it brings up a lot of other questions being prior Air Force with that. Like one, when they actually posted the article of the flight logs of that plane, the first flight for that plane going to Asheville was October 3rd. And that was, I think, a Thursday. And the hurricane hit on Friday night or Saturday, I think it was. So it's like, why are we just now sending one C-17, which I didn't even know the tail number, but apparently they knew. I can tell you from being in the Air Force, we have a lot of C-17s. So it's like, why is there one C-17 going? And then they said the first time, the reason it didn't take off was because of a pressurization issue. Well, if you go on flight radar, which they attached to the article, it never went above 10,000 feet. You don't even need oxygen until 12,500. I know this because I'm a pilot. I've been flying for 10 years. I'm also an air traffic controller, skydiver. I have a degree in aeronautics. So I know what I'm talking about here. I fly my own plane. Yeah. That's not pressurized. So I never go above 12.5. And from Charlotte, even on flight radar, from Charlotte to Asheville, it's either a 22-minute flight or about a 30-minute flight. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's just some kind of rule where they can't take off because of the maintenance issues. But then they unloaded that plane, put it in another C-17, and that one had a fuel problem. So then they had to reload to another plane. So they obviously have multiple C-17s there, but it's like, why only sending one? And why aren't we sending the entire cavalry dropping off supplies?
So I want to maybe take because you've already explained to Sean Ryan sort of the setup here, but I want to very, very quickly explain the setup. First off, you're an expert in all of this. You're a veteran yourself. You work in the Florida National Guard. So you
state guard.
State guard.
Yeah, not National Guard.
We wish.
Yeah.
You should nationalize the Florida Guard. So you work in the State Guard. You know these You know these operations. You've flown these operations before. So you have an incredible pedigree and have established a lot of sources inside of this community. And so what happened? Somebody reached out to you and said this Kamala Harris photo op with a C-17 filled with a bunch of hurricane relief, that's fake. That Kamala faked it, and that relief never got to Americans. That's what happened?
Yeah, so I got a message on Instagram, and I will say I did get this part wrong. I did get his rank and position wrong. It was not the squadron commander, but I probably received about 100,000 messages. And when I received that message about a week ago, it is about a week until I actually talked about that on the show. But he was a very high-level officer in that unit specifically, and he was like, we loaded that C-17. It disrupted all the operations. They loaded it the day she was coming there just for her to take a photo opportunity. And he said that plane is never going to depart to Asheville. And he was very upset about it. So I actually do believe that individual really did believe it was not going to go. And it comes up to another thing, it's leadership. It's like, why wasn't the command, I guess, telling their people, hey, this is not just a photo opportunity. This is going to depart. And then the other part is like, if we had 2 C-17s break down, why is our military fleet not in good order to respond to something? Like, what if we actually had to respond to a war crisis or something, immediate like this? Maybe we're sending too much money overseas and not putting it into the maintenance of our own aircraft. So it's just like, how did 2 C-17s break down? And finally we got a third one that made it there. Just seems kind of strange to me.
So what is so that clip, we played it, we covered it.
Yeah.
That went crazy. You had a source telling you about this. So that was accurate though, in the sense that
it was accurate at that time.
That plane didn't take off.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris did stand in front of a plane that didn't deliver the material she was loading onto it. I don't know exactly what they were loading.
Yeah, at the time it was accurate.
Yeah.
After I did re-speak to him further on, he did confirm the plane did depart. But I mean, it kind of goes back to all those questions I had. Is like, why did it take October 3rd for the first time for that plane to go?
Yeah.
Why didn't it leave on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday? It only left after Kamala went there to go get her photo op. And like, I can tell you from working at multiple airfields, because people are like, oh, you're only working at one airfield. I was probably going to about 4 to 5 different airfields a day. And yeah, there was a lot of military there, a lot of National Guard, but I can't tell you how many civilian birds were flying in supplies there. And it's just like, okay, well, if we were bringing all these supplies in from the government, why is there such a need for civilians to bring in that many supplies? Why am I going out there in a civilian helicopter, dropping off food to people, dropping off insulin, EpiPens?
Yes.
So it's just like, and I do want to make this clear and give a shout out to Terry Neal. He's the air boss for the North Carolina National Guard out there. And he was running around the clock operations with his crew. I mean, they were busting their butt out there. All the National Guard guys were. There just weren't enough of them.
Yeah.
Because the level of mass destruction that this hurricane brought wasn't just one river, one lake. It was widespread. So there just wasn't enough for them to cover the entire ground, even though they were running basically 24/7 ops out there. So you had to bring in civilian helicopters, and good on Americans, they're not going to wait around for the government to send in the cavalry. We sent our own cavalry in and went and rescued these people. And I think it's a big part people really need to think about is like, why did the government not activate 82nd Airborne there on Sunday or Saturday? They have all their units there. I mean, JSOC, the tier 1s, the best of the best. Delta Force, DevGroove, the 2-4 STS PJs. I had my friends from the 2-4. They're like, we can't get authorization to go there. I had PJs sitting in Asheville Airport on Blackhawks waiting for Title 10 orders, and they flew all the way from Arizona. Like, you're telling me we can't get that authorized? And another big thing I thought about,
it's crazy.
We kept running into like search and rescue teams out there from out of state, and they were there for profit. So, and I asked them, like, how does this work? North Carolina put out a notice that we needed help, and then they would bid on the job. Like, this is how much it's going to, like, we'll charge to come do these jobs. So North Carolina has time to put out bid notices to do search and recovery, but not enough time to request Title 10 orders or activate more National Guard. So their priorities are just all jacked up. And it's like, to me, I would think someone's probably getting a nice kickback there.
Wow.
But it's just like, how do you have time for that, but not enough time to activate your entire military that's right there in North Carolina?
Yeah, Fort Bragg, right? Like,
there's massive. How many 82nd Airborne troops are there? I don't know, tens of thousands.
Wow.
So they could have established command and control. They could have said, hey, no civilians are allowed in this area. Military or government is taking full authority. We're bringing in 100,000 troops, 300 helicopters. Civilians stay out. We got it handled. That never happened. When I was up there, there'd be a pocket here, we're in control here, we're in control here. There wasn't like a centralized nervous system where everything was just operating functionally. And that's kind of like how we do in Florida. Like I just got done doing, Helene and Hurricane Milton. Everything flows to the top, everything flows out from the top. There's just everyone works together. There's no power grab. And that's what was going on out there. People were trying to like, oh, I'm establishing authority. I'm establishing authority. It's because there was no command and control. There was no leadership there in North Carolina.
So it remains a mystery to me. Why would they do for profit when there already is something that we all paid for called the American military? Why would they be running for profit operations? And so much military is based, again, in that state. Presumably the governor could call upon it at any time. I know how this works, right? You're going to need state. The president can't order the military into a state, right?
Yeah.
Like this is unconstitutional. But the governors can call for it. The governors can request it. And typically it's a political suicide if a governor's like, we've had a horrible disaster, please send in the military. Here's a good example. Katrina. The governor of Louisiana said, please, and the mayor of New Orleans said, please send in the 82nd Airborne. In 24 hours, man, you had like 10,000 well-trained, we paid for them, operators that were able to help and save people in Katrina. What the hell didn't that happen? It's a much shorter trip to go to Asheville than to go to New Orleans.
It's a failure of leadership. I mean, like, I don't know where the governor of North Carolina was. And I kept hearing that from a lot of people. I actually heard them, they say, I think it was on Tuesday, they're like, the governor and his staff had been AWOL for like 3 days.
Wow.
And there was just no leadership. There was no command and control. Nothing was really being done. And that's when I made that first video, because I was just so disgusted with the politics, because I kept seeing the video that we posted. We rescued this 11-day-old premature baby, and it was being shared all over for just, dog and pony shows. And I was just like, you guys got time to post all that and write articles on it, but you don't have time to establish command and control and bring in more troops in here and bring in more government services. And I was just like, that's when I was so just irritated by it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this out there. Probably going to catch a lot of heat for it. Glad I didn't. Other than some stupid people that don't believe me. But it brought in so much support. I think after I posted that video, I had more civilians up there with helicopters.
Wow.
I had so many like military commanders reaching out to me, like actual commanders, friends from the military that I knew. And they're just like, we can't get access in there. Like, they're like, we're just being denied. I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. Why can't we get these people in here? But after that video, things started changing. And then I think when Joe Biden arrived, I think on that Thursday, he announced like, oh, we're going to activate like another, don't quote me on this, I think he said another 1,000 troops or something like that. And I'm like, man, it's been like a week and 1,000 troops. Like, that's it. The first time I actually started seeing, besides the National Guard birds that were doing all the rescues, and they were doing a ton of rescues, when I actually started seeing like 82nd Airborne come in there, I think that was on Saturday. And I would chat with him. And I even chatted with this one guy, 82nd Airborne Black Hawk crew. And he was kind of reluctant to talk to me at first, but then we started chatting. And his only mission there was to fly colonels and VIPs. And he was mad about it because he was from that area. He's like, these are my people. I want to go help them. And he's like, my only job is to fly VIPs around. And it was just like, you can't make this stuff up. And to the audience, if it all sounds crazy, it doesn't make sense. Exactly. It doesn't make sense. Like, nothing was making sense there.
So I've lived in one active National Guard deployment zone, which was on Capitol Hill after January 6th. The National Guard took over all of Washington, D.C. They did so also during the Antifa riots, Antifa BLM riots that summer. There was like rampant attacks on memorials and attack on people outside the White House. And they just ordered in the National Guard. I've seen them deploy because they set up camp right next to the armory, which was where my house was. And I've seen these guys get on the ground and like completely militarize all of DC. All of DC was under total and complete martial law. And there's curfews, and there were tanks, like armored vehicles rolling through my neighborhood. And I saw it I saw the activation. It was really impressive. And you could see what the full capabilities of the American military up close in deployment. And I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
And I said, man, this is impressive. All of those issues aside of why they were deploying. Okay, so set all that aside, the American military is very, very impressive up close and also maintains great order, right? You're never going to step to these guys. All of the vandalization with BLM and stuff, that stopped instantly. As soon as like the National Guard was protecting Lincoln Memorial, yeah, the graffiti stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there wondering, like, Democrats clearly can call for the National Guard to be mobilized in very impressive ways, because I've watched it happen in my front freaking yard in DC. They can call for the National Guard to be mobilized when it's politically convenient for them. But it seems like this just isn't politically convenient for them.
They could have done it. I mean, they activated, I think, a few thousand, and they activated a bunch of National Guard assets. But I'm like, why wouldn't you just activate everything within the area? And if you have too much, then pull them back.
Sure.
Like, go activate every unit you can, get everything there. And because, I mean, when I showed up there on Sunday, we didn't stop doing rescues until I think it was Wednesday was our final rescue of people we actually did. But even on that Friday, I remember flying out to one town where we were the first contact for those people. And so basically, I think it was like 6 days. And they were like, you're the first people to reach us. And I was like, really? And we were just bringing like food and supplies. And I was just like, I was so shocked by it. But it's just like, why wouldn't you bring in everything? It's literally one phone call for these people to do it. Of course. Like, I see how we respond in Florida. I mean, like, even when I was just going down I-75 the other day, there was thousands of linemen, like I think thousands of sheriff department. There was one airfield where I was at. There was thousands of linemen there. And I'd go to North Carolina. I would see a lot of linemen out there, and they were working. I mean, they were working their butts off. But I'm like, why am I not seeing like tens of thousands of linemen out here? And I think it's because they just were not requested. I did hear that the governor of North Carolina never requested like federal assistance or something initially. And that's why I guess they couldn't activate like, I don't know, Title 10 or whatever. I don't know how that works, but still, it should have just been a simple phone call from the governor saying, cut all red tape. We need help. We need everyone here. People are actually dying if we don't get these people out. And then we'll figure out all the paperwork later on. They didn't do that.
It creates conspiracy theories. I'm saying that what it does by not doing that makes people think that they want these predominantly red Trump areas to suffer. And then the governor, I want to name and shame, his name's Roy Cooper. He's a Democrat in North Carolina. And it couldn't be any different than what we saw here in this state during the hurricane. Now, I live in Tampa. Tampa is known as one of the areas that still Democrats still have a marginal slight edge on Republicans in this state, although that I think is receding actually quite swiftly. But it's not like DeSantis let Tampa drown or burn because it has a Democrat mayor, right? This Florida State Guard was ready, and I saw it, bro. I have like this. I took a video for 3 straight minutes of personnel carriers, of armored units, of National Guard, rolling State Guard, I presumably in National Guard, rolling towards Tampa on my way evacuating. Linemen, there was miles of them, miles of those trucks, heavy movers, heavy lifters, all heading towards the fire, right? All heading towards the sound of the gunfire into the hurricane before it even hit. When everyone thought it might have hit like a Cat 5 and it could wipe the city off the map entirely, they were all on their way. And you're saying that none of that happened in North Carolina.
No, literally, it was almost like the government was non-existent. I think we kept saying the term. We felt like we were in like Walking Dead. Wow. We're like, we would just like roll up and people like, yeah, we're in charge here. And you roll to like another place and we're in control here. And it was just like, it was so weird. It's like you were in another country. I would run to like a bunch of like former soft guys, like at Harley Davidson. They were running an awesome operation out of there. And they're like, yeah, we're just going out here doing missions. We're doing airdrops. We're bringing generators, chainsaws, fuel, food. And you're just like, it's just crazy. But without those people, these people would have been dead.
Do you think that this last hurricane that hit 5 days ago in Florida, do you think that could have been like North Carolina had we not had leadership of Ron DeSantis in the state?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like you talk about how the State Guard was rolling out. We left here in the Panhandle, I want to say like 4 or 5 o'clock, like the day before the hurricane was hitting. And we were staged in Gainesville. And then around, I want to say midnight, we were already pushing toward Tampa, and we were staying outside the eye wall. I think we were in Brooksdale or something, somewhere north of Tampa. And like literally as soon as that eye passed and we knew it was safe enough, we were already going into St. Pete and Tampa. Like me and my very senior combat controller, Ken Human, me and him actually went to St. Pete Airfield and cleared it at like, I think 2 a.m. So we cleared the whole airfield. It was good to bring operations in, like emergency aircraft, medical supplies. And then me and him went to all the hospitals in St. Pete and Tampa and cleared all the helicopter pads, the landing pads on top of the hospitals. And then from there, we went down to Sarasota, cleared that airfield all before sunrise. Now, I remember when we sent that information up to the state, they were just like, we didn't know you guys even had that capability. And they were just like, this is so impressive. But that's what happens, like, because DeSantis is so good at this. He's like, let these operators do operator stuff. Let them off the leash. These guys will go find work. They want to find work. And that's what we did. We just went out there and we were just like a bunch of pirates just spread and good command and control. But we're like, hey, we're going to go task this. We're going to go task this. This team go here. This team go here. And that's what we did. And we just went out there and made stuff happen. But in addition to that, all the agencies that we were working with, sheriff, police, National Guard, military, you name it, we were all working together in sync. We all had one centralized command and control. That way, if I reported a down power line here, everyone saw that. We actually have an app system for that. Like, there's a down tree here on the road here, there's a down power line here, and everyone, the linemen see it, the police see it. There's no one was asking me for my orders. I'm literally running around in an unmarked like police vehicle in a Tahoe with a gun on my hip, and it just says Florida State Guard. And police weren't like, hey, give me your papers. Where's your badge? Like, it was just like, hey, thank God you guys are here. Let's go do work together. And we all worked together as like one big team. And North Carolina, it was not like that at all. I had people asking me for my papers. How are you authorized to be here? And I'm just like, I'm here trying to save people. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is what you're worried about?
I thought this was America, right?
Like, yeah. Do I look like me and my team are a bunch of looters? Like, we came up here in the middle of late Lord, like let us in. We want to do work. And again, failure of leadership. Everything comes down to leadership. We got strong leadership here in Florida. And I mean, so good that they sent us up to North Carolina to go rescue trapped Floridians in the mountains. That's actually why we went there, because there was known Florida residents there, and DeSantis wasn't going to wait around for North Carolina to figure it out. He's like, I'm going to send my guys to go get my people out. And that's what we did.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like on a miniature level, like on a state level, like America does that when Americans are trapped in some type of natural disaster or war zone. But you're doing it because Floridians, a lot of Floridians go and chill in the mountains during the hot weeks of the summer here.
Yeah.
And so you're going up there to save Floridians.
That was our mission up there, was to get the Floridians out and then just assist anybody that we saw. Because a lot of the people out there, like the command centers that were established out there, they can only give you what they know, like missions. So a lot of these people are so remote in the mountains. There's no cell phone service to even begin with.
Sure.
Now there's no Wi-Fi. They don't have Starlink. The only way they can communicate with you is by literally carving SOS in the mud or painting SOS on the ground. That's how we'd find these people. We literally just fly the helicopters in the middle of nowhere and look for distress signals or people waving at us and SOS, and then we would just drop down and pick them up.
Wow.
Because there's no way for them to say, hey, I need help. So
what were the operators saying on the ground there, right? Don't have to name names, don't have to tell me who, but like, what was the mood on the ground there for people who you understand how they work, you understand how it works in the best scenario, which is what you had during the Florida hurricane? What were the operators on the ground in North Carolina saying? They must be incredibly frustrated.
Like the military operators?
Yeah.
I never saw any active like military operators. Everyone was former SOF operators, and they were just taking over to help the people. There was no like military special operators.
You didn't see any of any?
No.
Did you see any FEMA? You see anything like that?
So I personally never saw FEMA. I saw a FEMA security team. They were at one of our staging locations. They're all former SOF guys, but I would see them. They're wearing body armor, long guns. And I was just kind of like, what are you guys doing? Are you about to go like do a hit? And they're like, oh, we're here for security. They're like, that's just, FEMA brings us to every like disaster. And I was like, oh, okay, they were cool. But I never saw
security for who?
I guess for what? FEMA people. So I never saw.
So like against their fellow Americans, like they're there to protect like against the mountain people.
I think they were there to like protect maybe like food storages and those kind of things. But I never saw FEMA personally. A couple of my teammates did. They had some very bad interactions where one of my teammates actually threatened to detain one of them. He was like, "I'm actually going to put you in like flex cuffs and throw you in that helicopter." Because I don't want to give that whole story because I don't remember all the details, but I remember he was telling me about it, and he was just like, I literally like I thought I was going to arrest these FEMA people and throw them in a helicopter because they were trying to like either stop them from doing something or kick them out, and they were just like not happening. And then the former Green Berets working out of Harley in Nashville, FEMA came over to them, I guess was trying to shut down their operation, and they were all just like hands on guns and like not going to happen. And
so these rumors are true about the federal government stepping in to try and stop private operations that are helping people.
I say those two stories, I did not witness those two, but those are from people I know that are, one of them is my teammate and the other one, very credible Green Beret, former Green Beret.
So the federal government's pointing guns at people trying to help, saying stop helping.
I don't know if they're pointing guns. I've been getting a ton of messages about like FEMA stopping supplies and stopping this.
Wow.
I think a lot of that is probably happening in the city of Asheville. We didn't really do a lot of operating in Asheville because most of the disaster was outside, and the people that can't even drive to Asheville get supplies, they're the ones that actually need the supplies. So I'm sure there was a whole different picture of what was going on in Asheville, but like I would just tell people, hey, bring supplies to this airport, this location. Don't even worry about trying to contact FEMA or the government. Just bring it to these private citizens, and they'll push it out from there.
What an incredible fit. Do you think it's on purpose? Do you think it's on purpose? It's hard to put this amount of incompetence together and not say that there's some malevolence. At some point, right, gross incompetence actually equals malevolence, no matter what your intentions are. And it's like, it's almost like this was designed to fail.
I think if this would have happened in a very blue city, you would have seen all the response there to help.
If this was Philadelphia,
there'd have been everything.
They would have called Canadian, they would call the United Nations for a binding resolution, right?
I think our government is just that dumb, that incompetent. And like, I mean, if you just look at them, everything they do is a reflection of them, and they're horrible at it. They destroy this country. I think the day I was flying up to North Carolina, I think they announced like $8 billion for Ukraine, $8 billion for Israel, and I think $127 billion for Lebanon. All I've heard from North Carolina is $750 if you file a claim. And I went on the news and talked about this, but I'm like, these people have no way to even access that $750. They're in the middle of nowhere. Right. What are they going to buy? They can't Instacart food to their house. They're 20 miles is the nearest road.
How are they going to file a claim online when they don't have internet?
And they'll probably have to pay taxes. They'll probably have to put on a tax return like, oh, I received $750 and paid 25%, tax on it. But it's just like, I don't know if the government just hates its own people that much, or if they're trying to kill them. I hear there's lithium in the mountains. I don't know if they open up a lithium mine there next month. Maybe that's true. But it's just like, they're so bad at their job. It's mind blowing. Like when I tell people the story, they're just like, none of this makes sense. I'm like, exactly. Yeah. None of it makes sense, because they just don't know what they're doing. Then you go to a state like Florida and you're just like, wow, everything is being done that can be done. And even beyond what I could even imagine to put together for a plan. But I don't know. I don't have the right answer for that. But I mean, if these people still vote for that governor of North Carolina, you just can't fix stupid. Like, I mean, he literally let these people die out there. Like, I mean, we ran into one lady that had 1 day left of fuel in her generator to run her oxygen machine. And like, we were her basically last hope to get her out. And it's just like, how is this happening? How is the entire military, government, the cavalry not here, boots on the ground? And that's what the people of North Carolina and the people around the nation, they got to think about, like, why is this happening? Why aren't we helping our fellow Americans? Why are we so concerned about sending money to other countries? Why aren't we putting that into our own military to fix our planes, to keep them at a ready state? Why aren't we sending more troops? Why is this happening? And why aren't we hearing more about it? And that's what people got to figure out. I can't figure it out for you, but I can tell you what I saw on the ground up there, and that's what I'm doing.
Well, the most honorable thing you possibly can do. We've been working with Corey Mills to send supplies up there. So we've been sending vans every single day to work with Corey Mills to send supplies up there from our show. I don't have an operator background. I'm not sure if I'd be more of a hindrance than anything. But we're doing whatever's asked of us. But you're like actually getting into the shit and being. I mean, this is real hero shit. I know you're going to say it's not. But from the rest of us, everyone in the audience is always asking. We've been covering this for weeks. Everyone's always asking, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Can you answer that question?
Yeah, there's so much you can do. I'll tell you a great example. I posted this on my post yesterday, but I had this female attorney named Elizabeth out of Charlotte. Amazing. And she texted me and she was like, I want to help, use my resources. She's like, I know I'm connected very well. And at first, the first time I was like, okay, appreciate it. And then she texted me again. It's like, I want to help you. I want to bring you food. So I was like, okay, bring food for all the first responders up here. And she brought like a whole buffet of hot food and coffee, which is just amazing when you're not getting that. But I had this like ear issue going on where I think I was having like an ear squeeze from changing altitudes in the helicopter. So I was like, if you have an ear doctor, I know it's out there, but I was like, if you got an ear doctor, like my ear is actually hurting and I messed up my lower back during Helene in Florida moving a boat. My sciatic nerve would like hit sometimes. So I was like, do you got a chiropractor? And she was like, literally like in 10 minutes, she was like, food's coming. I got an ear doctor, stand by on chiropractor. And about 6 hours later, she's like, I have you a chiropractor. And this guy met me on a four-wheeler at a helicopter landing zone and adjusted me in about 2 minutes on the ground. I got back in the helicopter and went out and ran missions.
Bro.
Like I posted on my actual post, but like that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to be an operator to go help these people. You don't have to have a military background, a law enforcement. You could just literally help out first responders by getting hot coffee, food. Wow. I got a buddy actually from St. Pete, Savage Coffees, amazing coffee. The guy's originally from Naples. His boys live in St. Pete, and they have a coffee farm in Panama. And he messaged me and he was like, I want to help you. How can I help? And I was like, man, can you just send some of your good coffee, like instant coffee up here? Because I was like, I'm just drinking like horrible quality coffee. And he was like, done. And he sent like 700 packs of instant coffee and like just tons of coffee beans. So there's always a way for people to help. I mean, even that 13-year-old kid I post a lot in my feed, he was helping his dad run the airfield at Rutherford Airport. He was one that was helping us get the planes refueled, and just there's always something you can be doing, whether you're just donating money, donating toys for kids. Now we're kind of going into cold weather season. They're going to need jackets. They're going to need, socks. Wow. There's always something for everyone has a role to play. Yeah. So maybe it's just a connection of like, I can get you a chiropractor. Like, I know that sounds so silly, but like when you're running operations all day, and I'm getting a little older, I'm 36 now, like things start to hurt a little bit more. And like when I came off that chiropractic table, I was just like, my God, I feel brand new. And I just felt refreshed because whenever I'd be moving, I was just hurting. That nerve was just hitting, and it was just driving me crazy. But even like my wife came up and was just unloading supplies from civilian planes, setting out food, just anything she could do. So there's something for everybody to do.
That's what America First is. You could also vote Trump. You could also like vote for a guy that would probably have sent the military in like before the storm even hit, would probably have been ready to go. Yeah. Trump had a couple of big old hurricanes during his term as president, and they were well managed, right? They wanted to crucify Trump if he had like messed things up, and he did a good job,
Very good.
Like you did a good job. You think Trump would have sent in the military?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He wouldn't have played around. There'd be no red tape. Yeah. And that's kind of like what Governor DeSantis did for Florida. Yeah. I think the hurricane hit, I think Friday night here at Helene. We were already prepping that Monday. Like we were already prepping everything. We were making our game plan. If hurricane moves here, if it moves here, we were getting all of our assets ready. So we were very well prepared. And then we're staged like literally within like an hour. Like we were staged in Tallahassee, and then we went right into Perry. And then
probably past you.
Yeah. We were literally like just everything was set, ready to go. No red tape, no restrictions. Just do what you got to do to save life. And then you go to North Carolina, and then I even hear from military people, they're like, oh, we were on alert the day before the hurricane, and still to this day never been activated. But there was didn't seem like there was an alert plan. I will say the National Guard, talking to those guys, they were doing rescues the morning right after the hurricane. So they were getting after it. And they saved a lot of lives. But still, it's like, where's the rest of the government? Why aren't we getting more of these people out here? Where's the response? Why do you guys have time to put out bid notifications to bring in companies? Like, why are you paying companies to come here to clean up the rescue when you have the entire military National Guard here? That's a big one I really kind of want answered. Like, I really want that. I want people on the internet to go dig around on that one. It's just like, why are they putting out bid notifications? Why aren't they using their own state resources? Why aren't they using other state resources? Why are they hiring private companies to come in here and do the work? Like, is someone getting a 20% kickback?
Yeah,
because I'm sure
that's how it works, bro.
I'm sure those bids were not cheap. I don't think these task force were coming up there for $50,000. It's
probably Liz Cheney. Yeah.
Probably seven figures, I would think.
Yeah, so, Liz and Dick. I mean, Kamala endorsed.
Yeah, I was running into so many guys from Alabama, like fire, awesome guys from from Alabama, firefighters out there working. I'm like, what are you guys doing up here? They're like, oh, we're up here working. I'm just like, roll Tide, I couldn't believe it. But there was just so many of them and so few like North Carolina government. It was just, I don't know, man. It's a weird situation, but I say it's weird. It's not weird. I do believe it was intentional because they had all the time to fix it. Like they literally had like a week to fix it. And then it took them a week to be like, oh, we're finally doing everything. Honestly, once I started posting my videos, that's when all this whole misinformation campaign came back out. Like, I guess I activated it. I mean, I even got Hillary out of her closet to come online and start talking about misinformation. But like, I mean, I actually have the real videos. I'm posting this stuff. Yeah. I'm talking to the locals, and locals would even ask me, they're like, what's the North Carolina literally people in the middle of nowhere, they'd be like, what's the North Carolina governor doing about this? And I think it's another good point. These people in North Carolina did not realize the level of destruction. So when we would fly to them, they would say, just bring me like fuel for a week from my generator and bring me food for a week, and then I'll be good when they get the roads up. And I'd be like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, isn't the government like doing the roads and power lines right now. And I'm like, I just flew over 4 washed out bridges and probably 10 or 20 miles of washed out roads. Like, you probably won't have a road here for the next 2 to 4 months. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? And I would show them videos like when I'm overflying, and they're just like, oh, I did not know it was that bad. I'm like, this isn't just your river, your area. It's like all of North Carolina, Georgia, I think Virginia, Tennessee. And they had no idea because they had no way to like look at the internet. So they were just thinking the government was going to come save them like in a week and everything would be fine.
And all these guys are sitting around, they're not even activated. All these
literally just sitting there waiting for either Title 10 orders or waiting to actually be called up by the governor. So I think a lot of people, they don't understand like how National Guard and military work. Like a commander of a National Guard unit can't just be like, hey, we're going into North Carolina. Like politicians have to make that order. Like the governor has to request. So as much as my boys and gals in the National Guard and military just want to say, hey, we're going into North Carolina, you can't do that. It has to come from the top down. And they request that. So all these people are requesting to go, and they're just crickets. Yeah. They're not getting anything for it.
Just photo ops, and then shutting down all the flight patterns, like when Joe Biden
and then
fly over,
and then blasting me for misinformation. Like, those guys misinformation. I'm just like, I mean, okay, yeah, I got one little part wrong out of like 100 other parts. Why don't you go fact check the other stuff?
Yeah, bro, we have to come up with new conspiracy theories because all the old ones came true. So,
oh, you know what? While I'm on here, WRL News in Raleigh. I'm still waiting for my interview. They blasted, they fact checked my own video. This news reporter, I won't say his name because they'll probably try to sue me, but this dude fact checked my own video, took my own video down. I fought it, and the Instagram put it back up. But they asked me to do a news interview. I was getting like 1,000 messages a day. I didn't respond to them. So I guess that's why they fact checked me. But he was a news reporter for WRL, and he's also a fact checker on Facebook. And I blasted him on social media. He still hasn't responded to me. And I even texted him. So yeah, WRL News, if you want to correct that that story, let me know. I will fly to you in my own plane on my own dime. I'm ready.
Bros, let's toss up Jonathan. Let's make sure that Jonathan gets a bunch of new subs today. Let's toss up. Is it your IG? Is this a
IG is what I'm on. I don't have my wife says I'm on TikTok now.
Instagram, let's toss her up.
My
wife says I'm on Instagram now.
Is that my Facebook? No, that's my Instagram. Instagram is where I'm really active. I do have an X account. I've never posted on it. I follow like I think 10 people. I'm never on it, but I'm gonna have to start being on X because I'm being censored all over Instagram and Facebook right now.
Get on X.
Yeah, you can put it up there. I sent it to your producer. Like that way, people know it's not a fake profile or whatever. But yeah, no, it's
hop in there, give him a sub, give him a follow. There we go. Make sure that you're following. And then I apologize. When you start next, we'll blast it out too.
I apologize about the Instagram name. It's like an inside joke. The thick 30A broker. It's like a joke real estate thing. It's like a gym theme. So that's. People are just kind of like, what? I'm just like, yeah, I didn't know I was going to be.
Is this you on X?
That's me on X. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Fantastic.
Yeah. I'll start posting stuff on there just because, social media says I'm fake news.
Bro, we can get you your first followers on X. We've done it before, baby. We've done it before.
I don't think I have any followers.
The great ALX.
Yeah, I got no followers on X because I've never posted.
Producer Killer Klein's your first follow.
I only made an X account just so I could follow Trump, so I knew he wouldn't be censored. That was literally the only reason. Why? And then he actually retweeted my video. I was pretty shocked by it, but he got the info out there, and that's what needed to happen. Like the only thing I do want to say this is very, very important to me. Like,
dude, we're watching your follower account grow in real time. Come on, man. How many? 7 followers.
Oh yeah. Made it. So I do want to make this point though. Like my only intention of doing these news interviews and why I made these videos was to help these people because I literally felt it was a matter of life or death for them. And I was watching them out there. So some people have made accusations like, oh, you're just trying to make a bunch of money. I'm already rich. Like I'm already a multi-millionaire. I sold my business here in 38 2 years ago.
Wow. I
mean, I flew my own private plane to North Carolina to give you a level of where I'm at. So I don't need money. I've actually lost money by doing this. I've had to hand everything off to my business partners and people below me to run. So this isn't a financial thing. This isn't like an Instagram thing. Like I don't care about social media. Definitely not trying to be a politician. I will never be a politician. I hate politicians. There's only like 5 of them I like.
That sucks, bro.
Anna being one of them. Anna's a great one. She's a good friend. But like I have no thing trying to be Instagram famous, none of that. My only reason why I posted so many videos of this was to help these people because they were literally forgotten about and they were dying. And that was my only intent, and still my only intent, even why I even come like on your show and reach out to people. It's just to bring awareness to these people, because I even kind of feel like as of right now, the focus is kind of leaving Western North Carolina with everything else going on in the world. And these people are still months and months away from the recovery. And I mean, I'm actually going to go back up there probably this weekend or next week. Me and Charlie and Zeb, our buddy with the helicopter, we're going to start putting in more work up there. But I mean, I think from the time I was activated till the time I was done activated was 20 days of work. So that's why people think I'm just trying to make a quick Instagram video. Like, man, I just did 20 days of work out there. Like, I mean, I'm dwindling away. I've lost like 15 pounds and been eating like Little Caesars pizza and hot dogs, whatever I get my hands on. So yeah, I just want to make that very clear. My only intent is to help these people, because these are our fellow Americans and these are good people. And it's really sad and disgusting what has happened to them.
Yes. Okay. So this is what the America First movement is all about. Everybody follow Jonathan. Everybody make sure. Okay, good. You have 104 followers now. All right, there you go. Hey, man, there we go. This is what we can do. All right, so this is what we can do. And then I want to go on one of these trips with you. I want to go on one of these trips. We got to stick through the election. We got to lock in for the election, and then I want to go up there. Like I want to go. Like I want to go up there and do like a full. I want to do a full bit.
I would like to. I'd like you to come up there with me and actually talk to these.
The hurricane hitting Tampa like sent us off because we were gonna go with Corey. We're gonna go with Corey Mills.
Because when you talk to the actual locals that have been living there on the ground the entire time, like you're just gonna be so shocked at what they say to you. And like now it's not just me repeating, you're hearing from the people that are living through this on a daily basis about where's my government, what's not being done. And it's disturbing, really.
Yeah. Well, now that you and I are connected, I'm gonna go maybe before the election. We'll see. We got to sort it out. I got to get back into our studio. But we'll like maybe before the election we go up there and we do Benny on the Block and like actually.
No, that'd be cool.
Like tell that story. This is what we can do, right? What we can do with it. They try and shut you down by calling you misinformation. It's a lot harder to do when you have 1 million subs, right? It's a lot harder to do that when you have a following that you can speak directly to, right? Yeah. And that's how then these little like shitty reporters, those little shithead reporters, like for the local news stations,
WRL.
Like when you have a bigger following than them, then you just shadow box, man. You just like you can just like destroy them. Right. And then you can get them to delete things, right? Delete their misinformation. Yeah. So that's what we're going to help. That's what we're going to help you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And then like also just for donations and helping out aerial recovery that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
They're spending an entire month up there. So they have about 3 more weeks as of now. And they'll probably even extend it beyond that. So they're up there working. You can get with them.
Is this it right here?
Aerial recovery. Yep. That's it. Aerial recovery.
Okay, cool.
Amazing group ran by a former Green Beret and his wife, Brittany, and Charlie, my friend. He's like second in command there, but you can donate to them. The money's definitely going there to help the people. You can bring supplies up to them. They'll get it out to the right people. And then also like people don't usually, they kind of believe me now, but bird photography is kind of like my happiness. So that's like my shirt and stuff like that. But, I've always done this. I've never made $1 from my bird photography. It's just a passion I got into last year. And I like being in nature. I know I don't look like the guy, right? But one of the reasons why I got into it is I work with a lot of local charities here in Santa Rosa Beach, like Surf Brigade. And I work with one in Naples called Waterfront Warriors. And as much as I appreciate people who would just be like, here's a $10,000 check, here's $1,000, here's $20, I always felt kind of bad. They weren't really getting anything in return. So I do like nice prints, t-shirts, coffee mugs, whatever. And I give these prints to people that donate, or if they buy from the store, every dollar, there's no salary for me. There's nothing, like every dollar that they use to buy that print, it goes right to charity. And so what I did for this one was anything that's sold from basically last week to the end of the year, everything is going to the victims in North Carolina to help them out. So, go buy
this one right here.
Yeah, this is actually this is a reflection. People think I mirrored it, but I took this in May when I was in Chile in Argentina. But this is actually on a saltwater lake up at 8,500 feet elevation in the Atacama Desert. So this is actually the reflection off the water. It's not a mirrored image. But like I auctioned one of these off for a friend here in Navarre. They had flood damage to their house, and we auctioned that print off. So everything I do for that is just it's for charity. So if you want to support while also getting something, this is a great way to do it. I mean, I think a t-shirt's like $18. It's nothing crazy. So
you show the people. Can you show them?
What's that?
The shirt. I don't know.
Oh, the shirt. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. Look at that.
You can even get it on a phone case if you want.
There you go.
I mean, like, yeah. So this is one of my more popular ones, but I mean, it's just my way. basically of saying thank you to people that donate money and give back to them, because I appreciate them being so generous. Yeah.
You see the fish. You got a fish. I don't think it's a real fish. There's a giant fish here. Fish and the birds get along. Up here in the Panhandle, man, it's like great energy. It's been so awesome to like actually have so many people reach out, so many incredible people like come on the show, and maybe we'll do this more often. I would love to do a mission with you.
Yeah, I would love to
make that happen.
I mean, it's all about bringing awareness, because I can tell you from the time I posted that very first video, the amount of support we got from even just government and civilian was like night and day difference. Like the amount of supplies that were coming up there, even people that just lived like in Charlotte were not aware of how bad it was, because they just weren't reporting what was actually going on. I even should say this is another good conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. Aerial Recovery was actually escorting CNN up there at Lake Lure, and the sheriff denied CNN to videotape the bad areas. Like they would not allow them to videotape the really bad areas. And that's why I'm like, man, things are bad when CNN can't even actually report the real news.
That's shady as hell.
Yeah, very shady.
Yeah.
And I should also say this, like there was people throwing Republican congressmen under the bus. I think they were purposely trying to sabotage their election. I think his name's Tim Moore, Speaker of the House, North Carolina. When we were getting there, everyone was telling us the Speaker of the House was denying Aerial Recovery access into Lake Lure. And like nothing was making sense. And Tim Moore actually reached out to us and was like, that was not me. Like, I don't know who is saying that. And so it's like, but another good read, it's like, who is saying that? Why are people saying the Speaker of the House is doing that? I think people were literally intentionally trying to sabotage that guy running for re-election.
Dude.
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird things going on over there.
It's demonic, man.
It's very demonic. This government is demonic. They're evil. They're a bunch of pedophiles. Like, I hate them all. I wish we hate. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
America first versus America last. America first versus America last.
I was about to go off, but I mean.
Hey, you got next now. You got next.
Yeah.
Put it up.
Yeah.
Free speech, baby.
Yeah.
Jonathan,
Yeah.
take me on one of these. I want to let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go. And then we'll bring more eyeballs to what you're doing and show people what America first actually looks like.
Yeah. And also, if I wind up dead, I'm not suicidal and did not hang myself. So I would never do that.
Yes. Mint it. Put it up. It's rock and roll. Oh, interesting.
It's probably my truck blocking out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably okay. That's your cost.
I appreciate
Security
it, man.
showing up
Thank
in the
you,
fish
Benny.
cabin.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, Jonathan. See you, baby. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Later, Jonathan. You're the man. What's up, chat? Okay, that's great. Dude, you got like 500 followers now on X. Post on X right now.
What's that?
Post on X.
What's what?
A selfie. Take a selfie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Take a selfie. This will prove to you guys that the show's actually live. I was like, are you guys doing live?
Right here.
Oh, gotta get the fish in there. Gotta get the fish in
There
there.
we go.
This is gonna be his first post.
Yeah,
Is that
first post is
selfie?
gonna go
That
in there.
selfie is gonna be the first post. Okay, there we go. All right,
Appreciate it,
fantastic. All right.
Hey, you want that?
Later, Jonathan. Yeah,
Here,
absolutely.
take an Aerial Recovery hat.
Oh,
Spread the awareness for those people. They're good people. Real good people.
Hat chat.
See you, bro.
Okay. Later, homie. Saving America. These people are saving America. They're saving America. Hold on. There we go. Okay. All right. What's up? Got the mic. Got the show. Rock and roll. This is our streamer. This is our streamer setup. We even moved the camera. You guys can see our little fish cabin. Our little fish cabin here. So with these curtains. Now we're doing a hunt show. I'm Kamala Harris. Here's my new accent. I'm Kamala. Here's my new accent. Look. A bunch of wood I've been chopping. Look, chat. It's new Benny. Country Benny. Simple Jack. Yeah, all right. Okay. We're not Kamala Harris. And it's like that's the point, right? Kamala Harris actually does this. Kamala Harris actually does code switching, changes her accent because she thinks people are that stupid. Oh, it's so annoying. Oh, our political class. They're so despicable. They're despicable. Kamala Harris. She's talking to a black audience and she's talking to a Latino audience. She changes her accent. like these, it's so bad. You've seen this happen before, right? You take out your mother-in-law, and she's like this kept, insecure, suburban woman who has like live, laugh, love in her kitchen and the olive oil with like the fruit inside of it. Like it's a big thing of olive oil, and it has like leaves and stuff and like lemons shoved into it. And you're like, what the hell is that? And she has a kitchen like that. She's never worked a day in her life. She's just and you take her out to Chili's. You take her out to Chili's, and she says, chili relleno, right? Can I get the nachos? Right? She starts saying nachos, Southwestern egg rolls. You take her to the Chinese restaurant, and she starts speaking in a Chinese accent. Mugu gai pan. This is Kamala Harris. This is who they want to lead the country. We have the clips. We have the clips of Kamala Harris code switching, where she does the different accents. Do you have the one from Univision? Just give me the one from Univision. Are you okay? Are you okay? It's like it's like your mother-in-law who lives in some suburb, and you take her out to Chi-Chi's, and she starts speaking in a Mexican accent, and she's ordering her food. Are you okay? Like the waiter comes and says, "Would you like the Southwestern egg rolls?" And then your mother-in-law goes. Your mother-in-law's like, "Oh, gracias. I would love that." Okay. Do you have the clip? Put that up. You gotta hear this. This is so embarrassing. Why would you do like? What kind of a person? You don't want somebody this insecure running all the nukes. You don't want it. Pop them up, Klein.
In terms of relief for families affected by Helene, what would your administration do differently in the case of Milton?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question, and I hope your family is okay and your home is okay. Okay. So there has been a lot of disinformation about what we have been.
Do you hear her go in on misinformation? She's talking about Jonathan. He just left. You hear her talk about misinformation? This is the psyop. Are you okay? Are you okay? Kamala. Oh, do you have that accent switch Kamala video? Grab me that one. Oh, man. Here's she's doing it one more time. She's speaking to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. And she does the same thing. He's like, I love you back. I love you. Now, please bring me my queso blanco. I'm hungry. Stop playing Feliz Navidad. Right? Like, stop singing Feliz Cumpleaños for the table next to me and bring me my margarita. Right? Here you go.
I love you back.
Hello to all my
the famous Mexican Montreal accent. It's a special accent. All the kids are doing it. All the rappers are doing it. It's called the Mexican Montreal accent. It's very deep. It's very rich. You can almost hear the French in it. You can almost hear it. It's part Mexican, part French Canadian. I love you back. I love you back. Dude, it's bad. They want this. She's the worst. She's just the worst. Portnoy went off on this. So Kamala Harris saying there's nothing that she would change about the. Oh, you could put that. Okay. So there's nothing that she would change. There's nothing she would change about the Biden administration. Yet she's running on a new way forward. Look at that. Look at in the background. A new way forward. It's so It's so cringe. This went viral over the weekend. Here we go. Accent switch Kamala.
Who needs personality when you can switch who you are at the push of a button?
It's accent switch Kamala. That's right.
Oh, hello, young lady. Quite a marvelous day, isn't it?
Why does she talk so weird? Let me play with her.
Well, hey there, little nugget. I'm going to be the first black female president of the United States of America.
Man, this doll sucks.
Accent Switch Kamala can emulate any accent you like, as long as it grants her credibility.
Bonjour, tu aimes les croissants?
Merde américaine.
Guten Tag, Sie lieben ein Bratwurst? Ufta, 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 da.
Luke, I am your mother.
Sid, Swish, Kamala. That's right.
But wait, there's more. All new Accent Switch Kamala comes with 2 bags of campaign money, a blind eye for illegal immigration, and her own multi-laugh 3000 generator. Laugh in every way possible. Let Accent Switch Kamala turn your life into a complete circus.
When you give me more money, like Uncle Joey did.
Don't you wear a little mad? The money's coming.
I don't understand.
Oh, excuse me, honey.
I meant to say, the money is coming. I love ice cream, Kamala map.
It's Accent Switch Kamala and brand new Tampon Tim.
You know, my grandma always used to say, Kamala, Jano, please wash your hands so we can eat our chicken masama.
It's Sid, Swish, Kamala.
Okay. Oh man, amazing. I think they had a stinger on the end of who made that. Like we posted it this weekend. My favorite is the Joe Biden accent. Oh wait, hold on. I'm like an ice cream. And then Zelensky gets it. It's like then Zelensky can understand. I want my ice cream. What a clown car we live in. What a clown show. Snick Link. Who made that? Way to go. Hold on. Here's the account. What's up, guys? What's up? Thank you for this, the hilarity there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, fun show. Why not? We got a giant fish. Got a giant fish in the studio. Okay, so speaking of in the studio, Donald Trump confirms that he's going on Joe Rogan's podcast. That's going to be really, really big. Rampant speculation. Well, you got 20 days, bro. You got 20 days. Use your time wisely. Donald Trump saying, yep, I'm going on the Rogan podcast. That's going to be probably the biggest podcast episode to ever be published anywhere. Have they already recorded it? You know what I mean? Like, do they already record it? I'm not sure. Joe Rogan's been posting about it too. So apparently it's actually happening. It's pretty freaking awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we have such a great Sunday. It's such a great Monday gun day. Sunday gun day too. Every day can be gun day. Such a great Monday gun day for you. Something that caused us more tears than Accent Switch Kamala is Tim Walz blowing his balls off this weekend. I mean that. Here we go. Monday gun day brought to you by our boys at Spikes Tactical. Klein got the stinger. You got the stinger, Klein. Killer Klein got the stinger. Good for you, man. Okay, what do we got? We got Tim Walz. Speaking of code switching, we got code switching. These people, they're such frauds. They're such unbelievable frauds. They don't know how to speak in the accent that they were raised because they're ashamed of themselves. This is where it all comes from, right? It's human shame. They're ashamed of who God made them. And there's so much of like actually the root of like the corporate Democrat Party is just shame in who like we were created, like how you were created. And they're ashamed of that for some reason. And that leads to huge embarrassments on the national stage. And there's nothing worse than what happened this weekend with Tim Walz and his shotgun. Dude, Tim Walz came out he went pheasant hunting this weekend. Now, this is a guy who I only see one clip here. No way. Get me those memes. Get me those Tim Walz loading tampons into his shotgun memes. No. You're not getting away with one clip here. All right. Tim Walz decided to try and load his shotgun. So he says, we're gonna go pheasant hunting with my shotgun. All right. This is what it looked like.
And it never fits quite right. Never fits quite right. Just not quite right. How do you give it back?
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta 8.
Okay, I want to begin by saying, why are you trying to load? I mean, first off, he's failing at loading his own firearm. All right. He's failing at loading his own shotgun. Why are you loading it with the butt of the gun in your nuts? That's a surefire way. That's a surefire way to make sure that you ain't never having any more kids. What do you do? Who loads their gun like that? Dude, you've never fired that gun, have you? You've never actually fired that shotgun because it's not your shotgun. That was handed to you. You've clearly never touched it before. And you're on your way to one of the most painful vasectomies in human history. Who loads their gun like this? Bro, like, I'm trying to help you. I don't like you, and I'm trying to help you. So watch him struggle. Watch this struggle session of him trying to get around, trying to get a shell into that shotgun.
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap because it has a kind of their patented thing, a kickoff. So when you get old, it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much.
Yeah, it's going to hurt something very differently as you load your gun in your crotch. And he can't load it. Watch this.
Never fits quite right. Just not quite right. How do you give it back?
So what he's doing there is he's chambering and cycling through the shells,
This is a Beretta A400.
and he can't get the shells down.
I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap.
Is that gonna? Is it? So this guy's a gun grabber. Is this gonna convince you, hunters? It's gonna convince you, bros. Gonna convince young hunters. So get me the stats on Tim Walz. Tim Walz went hunting. There's a reporter who posted that video, but she says they went hunting for pheasant. 3-hour hunt. Walked 3.5 miles. Shot 0 pheasants. So, chat, how's that? Is that a good hunting trip for you? Now, this hunting trip is not to, like, you know, go put a dip in and sit around, like, drink beer with your buddies. Like, they're trying to prove that he's a hunter. 1 pheasant shot, no carcasses recovered. So they didn't even get the bird. Pheasant ain't great eating in the first place. Sorry if there's pheasant lovers out there. I'm not a huge pheasant fan. I've been pheasant hunting a bunch of times. ALX has been pheasant hunting. ALX, why don't we have your pheasant hunting photo in here? Hold up. ALX got a pheasant hunting photo. Give me that ALX pheasant hunt. You want to see the great ALX pheasant hunt? Check this out. ALX pheasant hunting. We were plugging birds like freaking crazy. Those birds were dropping like flies when we went pheasant hunting in South Dakota. ALX, show the people your pheasant hunting photo. There, look at that boy. Look at that. ALX did more. ALX probably got a bird in like 3 minutes. You go pheasant hunting with ALX. It's a good shot. ALX, are you going to come on the show and talk about this? You want to come on the show and talk about it? Is ALX going to come on the show and talk about it? It's up to you. It's up to you, dude.
Yes, let's talk about it.
There you go.
No,
okay.
I will say my first.
I'm not going to put you on blast here and not invite you on to defend yourself. You did way better than Tim Walz.
Yeah. So my first shot, it was funny. So, and actually, like, they did this completely all wrong. You're supposed to, like, walk in lines. You know, the dogs go in front and scare the pheasant. It comes up and you shoot it. They were like, if you play Tim Walz's video, like, they're just like wandering, and you know, he doesn't even fire his gun. So my first shot was, so there was a pheasant right in front of me. The dog was running backwards to scare it, and I had to, like, turn around like this and then shoot it, and it was like, you know, right there, and there was just a, like, massive explosion of feathers. That was my first pheasant, and that was on my first field. So
I think I was in that group with you. I can't remember.
You were. Yep, you were in that.
Very impressive shot. Everyone was like very impressed with it. They're like, "Wow,
yeah,
that's a tough shot."
And they
around the back.
they asked me, and they're like, "Oh, do you, like, hunt a lot?" I'm like, "No, that's like the first time I've fired, you know, a shotgun at a pheasant ever." So that was my first time hunting.
There's a personal issue, and I don't want to get too personal here, but I doubt that you loaded your gun by putting the butt of your gun in between your legs. I don't think so.
It was, yeah. I mean, it's pretty straightforward to load a shotgun too. It's not complicated at all.
Why would Tim Walz do this? It's so fraudulent. It's embarrassing. There's no good headlines that came from this. There's just the Elmer Fudd comparisons.
Yeah.
Do we have those? Hey, Ashley and Jerry, grab me some of those great memes. There's a bunch of tampon memes, a bunch of Elmer Fudd memes. That's what
we should have them in there now. But yeah, the Elmer Fudd comparison is pretty spot on.
Why would they do this? Why would you try and be so? Why would you knowingly like commit fraud? It's so fraudulent. He clearly doesn't know what the hell he's doing with that shotgun.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's like you got to be like off. That's the thing. Authenticity is the biggest thing with voters. You know, I'm not running for any office, but like I entered the field when we went on the pheasant hunt and said, I've never done this in my life. You know, and like just be honest with people. It's like, hey, I'm trying something new or whatever, or this isn't my gun. I'm unfamiliar with it or whatever. Oh no, this is my gun, and like clearly he's fumbling with it. It's like, yeah, totally, man. You really look authentic. But no, I really don't understand why they would do this if, you know, he's just clearly not familiar with it. You know, go through a little practice run off camera if you're going to try and do this. But yeah, it's really confusing to me.
What's the deal with getting only one bird? Dude, we got a lot of birds. Get that. When we went hunting, we got a lot of birds. And I will admit to all of you, I'll admit to everyone, this is what we do for a living, right? Like ALX and I are in the studio cooking, and I'm not out hunting a lot. And so we are not experienced. I would never call myself an experienced hunter. Okay. Maybe later in life I will be. I never call myself an experienced hunter. But we got tons of birds, man.
Yeah. Within the first hour, we got like a bunch of birds. Like, never mind 3 hours. Like, that's insane. I don't know, man. It's humiliating how they said. Did they say that he didn't even fire his gun once? I think I saw that as well. Yeah. So like, so they supposedly shot one, but then didn't even recover the carcass. So it's like, what kind of dogs are they hunting with? Usually the dogs are all over that thing. They're fighting for the carcass. So how did they not recover it? I don't understand that.
Those dogs are incredible. Dogs are amazing. I don't know. You don't have a dog, do you?
I do not. No. Okay. But I'm a dog lover though. But
I'm a dog lover as well.
Hunting dogs are crazy.
You know, there's an interesting clip. Robbie, you grab it. There's an interesting clip. Robbie or Danny, grab it. This one's great. This is probably my favorite. Tim Walz being incapable of the first level of duck hunt, which is true, actually. You know, those dogs. So the dog. There's this video of the dog. That like can't stand Tim Walz, and Tim Walz trying to like grab it and hug it, and the dog's like, "Get the hell away from me!" Right?
Yeah.
Like, here it is. This is perfect. The dog like clearly is. Give me that dog.
Where are you? Well, yeah.
The dog's like,
get me out of here.
Like, when dogs snap their necks and start spinning, that's a dog's way of like, get away from me, right? The dogs know. Dogs are pure animals. They know good and bad. Okay, they know good from bad. And when a dog like behaves like this, you know it's a bad person.
He wants nothing to do with Tim Walz. You can tell.
Those dogs are amazing. The hunting dogs, those professional hunting dogs that we went hunting with, they're incredible.
Yeah, they're intense. And that's my point is. It's like the ones that we were hunting with were like all fighting for the carcass. Like, you know, like how did they not recover it? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they lied. Take ALX, of course, is a internet genius. I can't believe that they actually leaned into this troll from JD Vance. JD Vance published this before the hunt, a couple weeks of him buck hunting. Here we go.
Hey guys, JD Vance here, playing a little buck hunter before a rally in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, also known as the closest Tim Walz has ever gotten to real combat. Have fun out there.
Hey Alex, how is that on the level?
Yeah, I love that. It's A-level trolling from JD Vance here. He's learning from the master himself, Donald Trump. So it's just gold. And like you said, I guess they're kind of, you know, trying to lean into it. It's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we send him off hunting? I don't understand. And then he can't even load his gun and can't even shoot a bird. Good job, Kamala and Walz.
Alex, give me a preview of some of the hunters in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, swing state, not too far away. We were in Pennsylvania at Butler. Close us out by like giving me the state of play. There are tons of gun owners in Pennsylvania. Scott Pressler was talking with us at the rally. He was sitting right in front of us, and we were at the Butler rally, and Scott Pressler was like, "Gun owners aren't registered to vote. Got problems."
Yeah. There's massive voter registration efforts underway in Pennsylvania. The last day to register is actually a week from now. So there's going to be actually a voter registration event before the Steelers game next weekend as well. So there's going to be massive voter registration efforts up until the last day, and yeah, it looks like there's good numbers coming out of Pennsylvania, with more Republican registrations. I think last week it was like 2-1. We were outnumbering Democrats in new registration. So yeah, and it looks like they're going to focus near Pittsburgh and Allegheny County area rather than the Philly area. But like we saw this morning, they're panicking. They're like, we can't rely on just Philadelphia, because it looks like Republicans are getting energized in other counties, like yeah, Bucks and Luzerne and Allegheny. So yeah, it's going to be nuts for the next 7 days there.
Scott Presser putting in work. Breaking right now, Alex. I hate to do this to you, but breaking right now. There's a new photo of Tim Walz hunting. That just crossed the wire. Very interesting. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Very tough. That's a tough look, man.
Partners.
Tough look.
Yeah.
Hunting for L's
Gosh.
is actually what hunting for L's, and they're catching them, baby. They're catching the L's.
Classic.
All right, the great ALX. Everyone follow ALX. 800,000 Americans plus. Can't be wrong. I actually don't know. What's the new number?
Yeah, we're at 805. Yeah. We're getting up there.
That's right.
Hopefully a million soon. We'll see.
On its way. ALX, a actual accurate photograph of ALX surveying X. And the ALX, one of the very few people that gets his own stinger on this program. Here we go. See you, buddy. Wouldn't that kick ass? If we had like specialized stingers for every guest. That was very cool. We're gonna have to work on. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna have a capacity build. We are running, baby. We are running through November. We're gonna be traveling. We're gonna be doing a bunch of trips. They're gonna restore power in Tampa this week, so I'll be back either tomorrow into our studio. I know. I'm sad too. Say goodbye. Did we come up with a nickname for the fish chat? We come up with a nickname for the fish. Donald Trout is what I came up with right there. Okay, so that's what I got. Donald Trout. Okay. Barracuda Benny. This probably is a barracuda. It's not a trout, right? But like, okay, yeah. All right. We got Joe Bobbin. I'm done. Won't do it anymore. Won't do it. I know the amazing Ashley is probably thinking of one. Ashley, you got one? You got a fish nickname for me? Yeah, you got a good crew here, but not enough fish nicknames. Danny's typically good with the nicknames. What's the nickname for the fish? I'm going to say bye. We got to say bye. We're going to say bye either today or tomorrow to the fish, and we'll be back in Tampa, and we'll be rocking and rolling. Eric, that's not a fish. That's not a nickname. Codmala. Oh, okay. I said it wrong. Codmala. At least he's trying. All right. At least Eric's trying. Danny's absent in the chat. All right. Okay, boys. All right. So here's we'll be letting her rip, Got in studio guests and everything from the fish shanty. Maglodon, love that. Finney Johnson. Look at those two. Those are great. From Dobby 1593 and Jay Knight. Okay, Maglodon. I love that. Okay, good. Okay, what else we got? Okay, all right. Whoa. All right, people are hitting on ALX. Chat's hitting on ALX. Chat. All right. ALX is a single man. He's a successful man. All right, and so go for it. Fair game. Fair game. Fair game. I'm not gonna go after people for coming for ALX in the chat. No, ALX is single. All right, so go for it. Striped based. Okay, good. Okay. Oh yeah, people. All right. Well, Alex, you're gonna have some new followers and maybe some new fans on OnlyFans. So, you know what? Good for you, buddy. All right. So here we go. We are at our verse of the day. What a fun little like roll for today. We launched our Benny Brews channel, by the way. Put up our first interview with Mike Benz. Had to do it a little bit. Had to do it with a little bit of like urgency from the road here. Okay. So probably not what like all of them are going to finally look like. We want to like build out a whole set for Benny Brews, but we want to start loading up like long form interviews, long form, because you can really like get into stuff, long form interviews, and you can't if you're time limited, if you're all stuck and like sign out a time box. So we're letting her rip with Mike Benz, who's breaking down the deep state assassination plots on Donald Trump. Go ahead and check that out. It's a freaking awesome interview. That guy's a genius. Verse of the day from Psalms 40. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and he heard my cry. The Lord hears us and delivers us. And well, we feel like that, quite frankly. Even though we're up here in the panel, we feel delivered. And once the power flips back on, we're rocking and rolling. A lot of big things coming and a lot of great energy. And we thank you for joining us here. And I'll let the we'll let the Benny Cuda take us out for the show today. See ya. It's your boy Benny. This has been a fun one.
Truth gon' be faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies. Watch the truth cascade with the warrior's heart. This man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies. Watch the truth cascade with the warrior's heart. This man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.